Coming up next on BBC Two, it's the Brad Woto stream. But first, it's time for
What's under the orange flannel?
That's right, it's time for you to guess. Can you guess what's under the orange flannel today? The ASMR portion to give you a clue. It makes no sound. Looks like a little penis. It looks like an average-sized penis. Actually, I would say that was probably average-sized penis. Actually. Scratches at work. Is it all my free time? Oh wait, Keorki has that. Print screened and sent to Keorki. In trouble. Is it a wiener? Wiener. You're a wiener. Is it some rolled up air under the orange flannel? Is it a toy gherkin fridge magnet in there? What could it be? Is it a gem? Ooh, I hope so. I fucking hope so. I could do with the cash. Take that down to cash converters. This is it. There's only 4 people in the chat room today. Should have just taken the day off. Should have taken the day off. The one day where we need chat interaction, you know. The one day where we need chat interaction, 4 people show up. We're in trouble. Chuckles, I'm in danger. What do you think, guys? What do you think, the 6 of us that are here? What do you think, the 6 people in the chat room today? 6 players. A normal D&D game. It's been reduced down to just a normal D&D game, you know? Fucking 6 players. We show up twice a year. I really should just get the 6 people that pay money and just run them through a personal campaign. Just be like, pay me this amount to DM you on a Sunday. And I'll just take it off of stream. It would honestly be much more fun for me because I would just be able to show up looking like absolute dog shit and not be on a camera. We could do some admin. You know what? We'll do some admin at the beginning of the D&D portion of the stream because there's some admin that we need to do. You guys think it's either some rolled up air or a gem? Maybe it's a woman called Gemma. Oh my god, Gemma! Such a... You're from Essex, you know. Looks like a wiener. I'd say it's probably a wiener. It is, in fact, classic Carmex lip balm. And I have some on my lips today because I cut my lip last night and then in the I don't know what I did to it. Maybe I burned it. I don't know what I did to it, but I did something to this side of my lip. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and my lips were slightly dry from being asleep. And I went, and then it felt like it split all the way open. And now today, it feels like that all the time. So I was like, I guess I'll just put lip balm on it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Thank you. It's a lot of applause for just 6 people. That was a lot of applause for just 6 people, wouldn't you say? I feel a bit sick today. How do you feel? Just feel a bit sick. I think... You know what I was going to talk to Liam about when we went on our walk, but I didn't. I think I had too much magnesium in my system, Liam. Worked it out last night with Dr. ChatGPT. Feel a bit sick. But you know, not as bad as I have been feeling. So, yeah, I will know truly by tomorrow. Because I've been eating a whole bag of spinach every day. I have a lot of magnesium in spinach. There's a bit of magnesium in spinach apparently. And then I was taking magnesium pills. And one of the problems that might occur when you do that is that your feet start to feel like they're pulsing, which is exactly what happened to me. And then I stopped taking them and it went down a bit. Magnesium poisoning. Magnesium poisoning, everyone. I just can't put anything in my fucking body at the moment without it going fucking haywire. It's super annoying. Super annoying. Anyway, here we are. It's Sunday. I would have liked to have taken today off. But it is the only day that I can make money. Although I have a feeling I'm going to make none today. Because there's only 6 people here. And it's all good. I'm not going to cry about it. I honestly can't believe that I've been able to keep the channel afloat on this Sunday game of D&D as long as I have. So thank you very much for allowing me to do it for the second half of this year. But it's all come to an end today as only 6 people have showed up. We'll try to drag in Valorant to the table. Fucking no idea what he's talking about. Shadow. Shadow sent me 200 AI generated images. Oh, did he? Why, Brad? Don't know. He just did. What do you think the reason is, Brad? Because he doesn't have Discord. He doesn't have an outlet to share this stuff on. And then he said to me, he's gonna kill me. And then he said, lots of people just can't comprehend that I don't want to do anything. It doesn't mean that I'm bored or lonely. Sends me 200 AI generated images every week. Apparently he's not bored or lonely. So you can draw your own conclusions from that if you'd like. He's gonna kill me. He is gonna kill me. He is just me without a stream. Shadow's just me without a stream. If I didn't have a stream, I'd just be doing exactly what he's doing. I'd find a random streamer, befriend them, and send them 200 AI images every week. I mean, when you reduce it to just that, a maniac. A fucking psychopath. Wow, my lip hurts so much. Don't make me laugh. Shadow, don't make me laugh. Yeah, feel a bit sick. Woke up, felt a bit sick this morning. Don't know why. Probably the magnesium leaving my system. A truckload of magnesium leaving my system. So last night I slept on a pillow. What are you talking about, Brad? Everyone sleeps on a pillow. Nope. I laid 2 pillows under my ribs and my legs. So mattress, my busted up fucking ratchet old mattress. A pillow, and then a pillow under my head. Right? So I laid on 2 pillows. And it was about 150 times more comfortable than the mattress that I've been sleeping on for months that is completely broken down to the point where it feels like sleeping on. You know those bags of gravel that you get before you're about to like turf a driveway or whatever? It's like sleeping on that. I don't know how to I don't understand how a memory foam mattress has become gravel, but that's how it feels. And it's so lumpy, and I wake up in the morning with bruises from it. I'm not kidding. I have bruises on my ribs and on my hips and stuff. And in all that time, I haven't thought to just like lay a pillow under me or something instead. And I did it last night. Made me so comfortable. So then I was like, oh man, I really need a new mattress. But I'm extremely scared to buy any big purchases until the end of January when I've paid my tax. So, and I know you're like, oh, you could do this and you could do this. Listen. This is anxiety, not logical nervous fear. So don't try and reason with it. It doesn't understand reason and logic. If it understood reason and logic, I wouldn't have anxiety. So then I was like, well, instead of buying a whole new mattress, how much are those like mattress toppers that you can get? And I was like, I'll see how much I can get like a cheap one of those for. And there was one that was £20. And I was like, oh, £20? I can spend £20 on a mattress topper for the next month. You know, if it improves, if it's essentially the same as placing a pillow on top of my mattress, I'll do that. But my bed is a king size bed. Because I'm a king. Obviously the king sleeps in a king size bed. So that bumped the price up to like £28 or something instead of what I thought was going to be £20 for a double. It's a £28 for a king size one. But I bought it anyway. Can I afford it? Not really. But I bought it anyway. And then I did a little shop around for some. I'm gonna buy my little nephew some Mr. Beast Feastables. I don't want to do it. I don't want that, you know. But he loves Mr. Beast's YouTube channel. He's 7 and autistic. Of course he loves Mr. Beast's channel. So I was like, I'll buy him some of those. And then I just found out they sell them in Tesco, so I'm just gonna go and buy him some from Tesco. And that's gonna be all of my expenses until the end of January. Some chocolate for my nephew, who I love. And nothing for the other one, by the way. The demonic one gets nothing from me. I'll give him 1 Feastable and the other one 2, so that he knows he's my favorite one and the other one isn't. It's important to establish that with children in an early age, I think. The other one's going to grow up and be a fucking serial killer, okay? He's a write-off. I'm not bothered. I'm hedging my bets with the elder, less demonic one. So I bought this mattress topper. It arrives on Tuesday. The busiest day of my week. Because that's the end of year. We're doing an end of year block party. We're all going to be hanging out at my house. Swing on by. We're dressing up. Who's dressing up for Tuesday? And who's also dressing up for Tuesday Grey? I wouldn't even bother dressing up for Tuesday Grey. If Tuesday Grey walked in that door, or she was like, I'll be there in an hour, I wouldn't dress up for her. Because there wouldn't be a point. No matter what, I'm going to look like a little fucking tadpole. I'm going to look like a little salamander crawling out of a sewage pipe. Even in my best possible outfit. If I got a fresh haircut, you know, spruced myself up, looked really good, scrubbed up nice, I would still look like the worst creature on the planet next to Tuesday Grey, the goddess. So I wouldn't actually bother wasting the time and money. I'd just stay like this. She'd show up and be like, oh, you didn't want to make an effort? And I'd be like, trust me, it would look the same if I was in a tux as I do in this old hoodie. Hi, Alasdair. He says there's nothing Twitch chat relates organically to like turfing a driveway. I don't even know if turfing a driveway is the correct term. I've never done it. I did work on a building site for like a year when I was like 14. Some people don't believe me when I say that because I'm old now and I play D&D. But I was brought up by a builder. I literally was sent to work at a Victorian workhouse. I was brought up as a Victorian child, a chimney sweep. You know the classic chimney sweep that you see? That was me, selling matches on the corner to the elite. That's how I met Liam. That doesn't sound legal at all. It definitely wasn't. I don't think anything about that operation was legal. I think the guy that owned the company was my dad's friend. I worked with my dad a lot, which is like one of those weird loopholes, right? You can go and work with your dad. But my dad would take me to go work with him sometimes. But I didn't really have any contact with him after this year. But his friend did, and his friend let me work with him. And I went and worked for this guy, it was just this guy who looked like your average builder, and these two Irish dudes who were like fully Irish. Like I didn't understand a word they were saying. That level of Irish. And they built children's parks, and like the first place I worked at was like a school, like a little kids school, and they were building the playground, and the first job I had was like helping them lay that like weird soft but not soft gravel ground. You know what I mean? It's like solid, but it's also slightly soft. It's almost like rubbery. Whatever that's called. That was my first building site job that I did, and I worked on that for fucking ages. It was horrible. I was 14 years old, and I'd have to get up on a Saturday morning at like 5 a.m. and go out in the fucking cold and rain and do this job. Horrific. Now I work indoors for a reason. Yeah, it's old tire rubber, yeah. And it's all like ripped up into little bits, and then they just lay it like gravel. You probably learn more than people watching Ant and Dec and Live and Kick In. I probably did learn more about being a full-blown fucking adult. Yeah. But do you know what else? Do you know what I've learned since then? Is that most of my life has been spent so far being a full-blown adult, and it sucks. I wish I was watching Ant and Dec and Live and Kicking. How nuts is that? They've been on the TV just every show, every weekend. Forever. My whole life. Ant and Dec have been there. Ulrika Johnson. We've watched Gladiators here before, and it was a fucking great time. Remember when we watched Gladiators and you people would actually show up and spend time with me on my channel? And I didn't have to fucking start a new game every day? Remember that? When I could just stream what I wanted to stream? And we'd all enjoy it? And now for some reason, you're all awful to me? And don't ever show up? You remember? I love doing that. That is one of my favorite jokes, because the only people in here are the real ones who have stuck with me through like thick and thin. You people in here during a holiday season who are showing up are like the people I would take into battle with me if there was a war and I could pick my own team and I was, you know, a country. But you're the ones that always get shit on, because the ones that aren't here are the ones that I'm bitching about. You know? You're just sort of in on the joke, really. Hi, the Blazing Inferno. How are you? He says, well, you'd know that if you showed up on time, because I started the stream by telling everyone how I felt. So show up on time next time, and do not ever leave again. To this day, what's he doing? I don't know. I have no idea what that reference is. Here's to the war. We can pass it on to them. We'll pass it on to them in the form of a bayonet during the war. Because you're going to be in my team. And they're somewhere else right now. They're watching some other dickhead streamer's channel like Orcish or something. The worst man. Orcish, unsubscribe. It's so fucking warm in here. It's 23 degrees in my apartment. I haven't got the heating on. I don't think. No. I might have to open a window. What the fuck? It's crazy. Living on a top floor apartment and just being free heating is bizarre. I also, but the only thing that's weird about it, I have no control over it all year round. You know, in summer it's too fucking hot. In winter, it's too fucking hot. Although I do think back to last year when I was just fucking like crying and it was turning into icicles running down my face. And I was like gritting my teeth like, I will not turn the heating on. I will not fight against it. And this year I've had the heating on, I think, twice. Maybe 3 times. I think I've had the heating on 3 times because there was one day where I needed to dry my laundry quicker. So I turned the heating on. And I had to open a window and turn the heating on. There was another day where I did it for some other reason. Oh, it was when I was in here doing a stream just wearing no clothing. I turned the heating on at the end of that for an hour. For an hour, by the way. When I say turned the heating on, this was like an hour each time. And then the third time was the weekend I had the Chihuahua here because she looked cold. And she's very small. Don't mind me, have a fever today and was forced to come to work. Isn't that illegal now? I thought we don't do that anymore. Why haven't we learned anything? I hate everyone in the world so much. Do your windows open all the way? Going by your streams, maybe it's best they don't. My windows open all the way. I can open them like a door, or I can open them and it just like goes like that at the top. But I mean, no one can hear me, Mikey. I'm in an apartment on the top floor. Maybe it's possible the person who lives in the apartment next to me at the end of the row here would be able to hear me, but there's no one in there. No one lives in that apartment, and no one lives in the apartment across from me right now. It's fucking bliss. Was thinking more about you being a flight risk than the neighbors. Oh, you're just saying I should kill myself? Okay, thanks very much, Mikey. No, I haven't been particularly suicidal, weirdly enough, even though I've absolutely fucking hated almost every single day this year. I don't really have the big sad at the moment, which is very nice. I have like extreme anxiety, which makes me want to kill myself because I just hate being in that state, but it doesn't make me as suicidal as depression makes me suicidal. When you're sad, it's like, fuck this, dude. No one cares. No one loves me. I'm alone. I'm just gonna fucking check out. Anxiety doesn't. It makes me. I just non-exist. My brain just stops working, and I just become one of those little shaking dogs until it's gone away. And then I'm like, oh, I'm human again. I can do stuff, and I try and get as much done as I can before the next fucking wave hits. Pretty Lady D moved? No, she lives on the other side. There are 2 sides to my building. And she lives on the other side. There's no one on my side. But they're like so far away. Like we're completely disconnected. Like they can't hear a thing I'm doing. There's like a whole elevator hallway between us. You know what I mean? Like 2 sections of the building. With 3 apartments on each side all the way up. And yeah, my neighbor downstairs is fucking annoying as shit. I literally have no idea what he could possibly be doing down there to be making so much noise. And he makes noise like all day, which makes me think it's some sort of machine. But they're also just slamming doors. Like I can tell a door slam. I think they just have no fucking concept that they're being loud. There are only 2 excuses. 1, psychopath. 2, deaf. If they're deaf, I'm not going to be like, hey, you know, whatever. If they're a psychopath, I'm not going to be like, hey, can you keep it down? Because now they're going to kill me. I'm like 90% sure that there's some sort of dealer. And I'm like trying to think like what machines a dealer would have. But like any dealers I knew, even ones that were like cutting up coke and stuff, they didn't have like machines that were loud doing it. It's like a pretty quiet process. If he's growing weed, which is what I think he is doing, because it smells you know, every now and then it would explain why I'm so warm up here. But it doesn't explain why there's noise. So I don't know what noise is that, why they're making so much noise. It literally sounds like, it sounds the same as if you had an upstairs neighbor who was very heavy footed, but underneath me. Like, is this Spider-Man? What is this guy doing? But I'm never going to find out. I fucking will not confront people in my own building, because you're just shitting on your own doorstep, and now you have to worry about every time you leave whether you're going to bump into him or whether, you know, it becomes a problem and now he's knocking on your door every 2 seconds. I'm not starting that shit up. No way. I'll just live with... There's almost no chance of me going down there and being like, hey, I don't want to be annoying or anything. I don't know what's going on, but like sometimes there's like banging and stuff. Do you know what that is and whether you could like keep it down or, you know? Even if I approached it the nicest possible way, it's going to create a problem, and I just refuse to ever do it again. I will live in a state of absolute torture rather than confront people that I might have to bump into every single day, you know? A random person on the street, all good. I'll attack them. I'll bite them. Like a dog, you know? Just walking along with Liam, and Liam's like, yeah, so I took 2 jobs and now I'm fucking losing my mind. And then suddenly he's pulling at my leash because I'm like, biting on someone's leg. That's all good to me, because they'll never know, you know, they'll never see me again or whatever. But people in your own building, next door neighbors and stuff, I try not to fucking rock the boat too much, because once you aggro them, it's like constant. I can't deal with it. Do you possess the One Ring? Watched you regularly 10 years ago and you haven't aged a day. I thank you so much. I have. I mean, I think it's probably just like nice camera and lights doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. If you saw me in real life, you probably would be like, hey, I'm looking for this streamer. He said to meet me here at like 4 p.m. But like, there's no one here. I don't know if you've seen anyone around here. He's usually wearing like a black cap, glasses, and like usually just like a hoodie and jeans or something. Kind of what you're wearing right now, but I don't know if you've seen him about. And I would be like, oh, what's his name? And there you'd go, Brad Woto is his like streaming name. And I'd go, that's me. And then you'd go, holy shit. Are you okay? We need to get you to a hospital. What happened to you last night? What the fuck happened to you? Are you like, fuck, dude? And I'd go, no, this is, what do you mean? And you'd be like, there's clearly something, like you're dying. Your skin is fucked. Your eyes are, you're fucked, man. What is going on? And I'd go, oh, this is just what I look like in sunlight. Not through a camera lens, but just with the human eye. And you'd go, You know? Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I see old pictures of myself and I'm like, I look like shit. I actually do kind of look better now. But I think that there's no way. Like, my hair is thinner. You know? I definitely have like bags under my eyes and shit. I just don't, it doesn't really show up on here as well, which I'm grateful for in a way, but also it's one of those things where, like, you know, you're gonna meet me in real life and be like, Jesus Christ, you're sick, you're unwell. So I don't know. I don't think I look too bad for my age. You know, I do meet other people who are like around like late 30s and early 40s, and they look astonishingly bad. Astonishingly bad. And you're like, how can you possibly look so like absolutely old and knackered and stuff? And it's because they're still just drinking every weekend and eating really bad food and stuff for the most part. Whereas I eat like relatively well, but I haven't always or anything, but I don't drink a huge amount. I don't do any drugs or anything anymore. You know, I'm not overweight as well. And I'm not out in the sunlight all day. You know, the worst I have is a tiny little ring light. So I don't know, you know, and kids, people have kids and it just fucks their entire life up because it destroys all of your fucking systems because you're up all night. Or, you know, if you're a girl, you potentially gave birth to one, which will destroy your body in every possible way, hormonally and everything. You have to come fucking bounce back from that. Then you got the stress of raising it, and it's just like a constant thing that's getting you up at 3 a.m. I feel like all that stuff contributes, whereas I have lived like a 15-year-old since I was 15. So I don't know, I've generally managed to keep some level of youthfulness to me, but I'm sure that I don't look this good in real life. I'm sure of it. I mean, you just go and watch a TikTok of mine. That's what I actually look like. And even that, you know, is probably not. You know, it's not eyeballs in the sunlight. You know the difference between eyeballs in the sunlight, right? And when you're like, you know, when you take a picture and you're like moving the camera around and you take one or two until you realize the one that you look good. I've done that. I've figured it out here. It's not really true, but kind of. I don't know though. I don't know. Now you send me a picture of you 10 years ago, splishy splashy, and then one of you today, and we'll do a big long comparison. I have a German family on one side that live like the good life. Lots of organic gardening and no idea of boundaries, including walking into my house and weeding my garden. Oh, neighbors. I thought you meant genetically you had like one half of your family were like German and this was like leading to why you still look young. You're like, yeah, the German side of my family. They're all like organic and really nice. They have like great genes and that just fed in, and now I still look 22. Mikey's 53 now. But you'd think he was much younger. Jesus, Mikey. How do you deal with a Karen? I've never really had to deal with one just IRL from some like direct bullshit. The only time I've ever really had to deal with Karens was working in retail. And for the most part, I would get them back in other ways, little minor ways. But generally, I just fucking don't care. I'm just like, oh, you suck. I kind of just feel sorry for them because it's clear they just need to install Candy Crush on their phone and it will just keep like a pacifier. Like, just play Candy Crush. Shut the fuck up. You're bored. You're clearly bored. Like, you have not got enough things in your life to fulfill how you feel inside and fill the hours in the day. Like, no one should have this much time to dedicate to being this irate about trying to return something without a receipt. Why do you care? Who could possibly most angry person I've ever met in my entire life over just the most irrelevant thing, you know? And you're like 16 working at a fucking shop. Who cares? But I've not really had to deal with any Karens. Generally speaking, I have a very strong sense of justice and injustice, and I have a very shitty little part of me that just will burn the fucking house down to get back at them. I'll destroy everything. Scorched earth. I'll go scorched earth just to make you feel bad if you made me feel bad, or you're being a piece of shit, or you made someone I know feel bad, or whatever. I've destroyed friendships over shit like that, you know. So quite a lot of the time I will find little shitty ways to get back at people that are kind of Karen-y. If there was one in my building, I would probably just ignore her and feel sorry for her and just not probably wouldn't do much about it, because they want something to be angry about, and they want something to obsess over and go home and bitch about to their friends for the whole evening. And then he said me, you know. Whereas I've completely forgotten I'm playing Marvel Rivals and making jokes about Orcish penis. And I know that it's not worth it over my long life of starting fights with people bigger and more important than me. So a lot of the time I won't aggro them if I know they're coming back to get me, and you know. But I will fuck with people a lot. Liam, do you remember working in the cinema? We used to do this thing called the Ice Killer, which has always been my go-to example, and I would do stuff like this. I couldn't list off over my life, all of the shitty ways I've got back at people. But when I was 16, I worked in a cinema, and people were so annoying, and they would queue up for a really long time and get to the front and be like, I don't know what I want. What thing do I want? You know, they're those kind of people. And then people behind them would get to the front and be like, this queue is really long. And I'd be like, yeah, it is. You know that because you joined it and you've been in it. And they're like, what is taking so long? I'm like, people like you doing stuff like this is what's making it take so long, you know? And it was just fucking annoying as shit. But I wouldn't say anything because I was like, I don't want to get fucking immediately fired. So I'd just be like, yeah, well, what do you want? What can I get you? You know? And they'd be like, I want a popcorn and I want a Coca-Cola drink, please. You know? And you're like, okay. And then you'd go and get it, and and they fucking get the popcorn. They'd be like, it's how much? It's how much? And you're like, it's the same amount it's been on the entire board the whole time you've queued up. Everyone knows it costs too much. I don't make the prices. I'm 16 years old. I do this just so I can get drinking money for next weekend. I couldn't care less about anything that you're saying or doing. I don't care about anything happening here. I'm hungover. I just want all of this rush to end so I can continue flirting with this girl I work with. I'm 16. And sometimes the really bad ones would be like, well, fuck you, fucking fuck. You know, like the worst type of Karen type people, or like just shitty people in retail. And I would fill their drink up with ice. So I'd go to the machine and I would fill it all the way to the top with ice. And then I'd press the button that fills it with Coke. And it obviously, like, you'd press it like a little bit and it would go and fill all the way to the top with Coke. So they would get a drink that felt as heavy as though it was full. It would shake with ice in, and they'd be like, okay, it's my drink. And they'd go all the way into their cinema. They'd sit down and they'd be like, the film would begin, and they'd have enough drink to get them to the movie. You know, I'd give them just enough drink to see them into the beginning of the film. And also, people don't drink a lot of their drink at the beginning of the movie because they know it's going to make them need to piss halfway through. So they would be drinking their drink in sips, and then halfway through the movie, their fucking drink would either completely run out or the ice would melt, and it would just be just water, really, really, really watery Coke with a hint of cola flavor to it. And it would ruin their entire day. And by the time like all of that has happened, it's been hours. None of them have ever came back. If they did, they would have to like queue up again, because people that would come to the ends of they'd be like, excuse me, there's something wrong, excuse me. I would just be like, I know for a fact that guy's coming back to like say something that I hate that guy. So I'll be like, you have to queue up, sir. You'll have to. No, because the thing is, my drink. You'll have to queue up, mate. Sorry, you've got to join the end of the queue. You no one can skip the queue. No, because the thing is, you know, I would always win because I hate them. I hate them so much. The example I was thinking of when in the gadget store, you would very loudly announce when a lady bought a dodgy toy from the bag. Yes, I would do that, but that was more just because we were bored and less justice. That was me being a piece of shit. Some of them were annoying, actually. Some of these old women would come in. We worked in this store called the Discovery Store. I don't think it exists anymore, but it's basically a gadget shop. But there was a little room at the back that sold adult toys, you know, like cuffs and dildos and stuff. And I worked on like a Tuesday night, and the store would close at like 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that, pretty late. And it was at like a mall, and these the women would come in at 8:59, 1 minute before closing time, and they would walk directly to the back, collect the thing they wanted, walk straight to the front. No one else in the store except for me and whoever was working, and they'd come up to the front and they'd put the thing down and they'd push it across the thing to you. This was before the internet. You know, like you couldn't order everything dodgy online. Now you would just order whatever fucking toys you wanted online. But back then, you had to go to a place, right? And they would come up to the front or whatever. And sometimes, I wouldn't do it every time, but sometimes I would scan it and it would come up that it had scanned. And I'd go, something going wrong. And already, you know, it's the worst feeling. I actually regret this. Sometimes I wouldn't regret this if they were dicks. If they were dicks to me about it. Like they come up and they're just like, this is really expensive, but they rarely did this with these toys. But this was just because I was bored and 17. I would scan it, and it would come up that it had scanned, and I go, it's not scanning. I'm sorry about this, and they'd be like, yeah, it's okay, don't worry. And I just scan it again, And it would come up and I'd go, oh, it's just really weird. And I'd just delete them and go, yeah, it's really weird. It's not working. Bleep, bleep. It's sort of like something's going wrong with this. Bleep. Oh, what is going on with this? Hang on, let me see if I can just type it in. You know, like dragon monster shaped fucking 12-inch 12-inch rainbow. And they just be stood there, and then I would literally, like, whoever I was on shift with, like Liam or someone, I'd go, hey, 1 second, I'll get another one, and then I'd go, Liam, yeah, Liam, can you, no need to be this loud, silent. Liam would be like 12 feet away. Could you go to the back and get another 12-inch rainbow dragon dick? Yeah, just it's the huge one. Yeah, this one's not scanning. Can you just get me another one or bring me the code? And then they would fucking scan it, and they would bring me another one. I'd scan it, they'd buy the thing, and they'd fucking run out. And then whoever I was on shift with, pissing ourselves laughing. Cause 17. Remember being 17. The thing is, you have to remember being 17. I would never ever do it now, obviously. I'm old, you know, I would never do it. I would do it if they were dicks, 100%. But you know, we were just fucking around all day in that shop was just a fuck around. It was a toy shop, and you were encouraged to play with toys, not the sex toys, but like the remote control cars and flying shit or whatever. Yeah, I was abysmal at that job. I actually kind of got fired. I got what I call quit sacked. There's a woman out there who thinks about this every day of her life. Yeah, I know. Most of the people that came in were scum. If it makes you feel any better, like, I think I'm not so evil that I would have done this to anyone that I didn't think was probably a piece of shit. I can tell a piece of shit from a mile away, and I definitely could at 17 as well. So I think a lot of the time, like, I think I would only do it to people who I'm like, I feel like you're a scummy person. You know? I'm sure I wasn't 100% accurate, but yeah. Horrible. I was a bit of a chaotic child, okay? But yeah, I used to get back at the Karens with things like that in the cinema. Or do you know what else I would do? This is really rancid as well. Sometimes people would get nachos. They would buy a pot of I don't like, dude. Liam, would you ever eat this shit? The way that this stuff is produced, even at its most clean, is so fucking gross. But like, they would order nachos with cheese and salsa, and I would go into the back and find some cheese and salsa from yesterday and put that on there, like this really lumpy, lukewarm nacho cheese, and then old salsa, and then I would give that to people. But honestly, the nacho cheese is one of the nastiest things I've ever seen. We get these big fat fucking packs of just like globulous cheese, liquid cheese, and you throw it in a microwave, and then you just put that, and that goes in the microwave at the beginning of the day, and then you put it in this fucking squirty thing, and that just sits there for the whole day and evening at the cinema. The people that would eat that, they'd come in and they'd be like, yeah, extra cheese, please. And I'd be like, you don't want it, bro. That shit is fucking disgusting. Pure plastic. Just absolutely dirty. The popcorn had been there for months. The guy that was making the popcorn, it wasn't like you made the popcorn and it went straight into the thing in the front that we were pulling out of. He was making it and putting it into these huge like sacks, these bin bags. And then that went down into a storage place and just stayed there for months. And then when you run out of popcorn, you never got it from the fresh made area. You would have to go and pull a big bag of it out from this like fallout shelter storage. And then you bring it up and then warm it up in the thing. So it warms up, but it's like it was made a month ago. It's fucking gross. Terrific. It really, like, I already had fucking food ARFID or something, you know? And that, like, working there made me like, oh, dude. Every time you eat food out somewhere, Unless you're at like a real fancy restaurant, I'm like 100% this is how it's produced, and we all just live in complete bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Because there is no way. It just is so nasty. But all these people are coming up and they just didn't, you know, you're the Wizard of Oz. They never want to know how it's made. But that back room where we made all the food was so dirty. But yeah, sometimes I would literally try and give them food poisoning. Because they were really assholes to us. And I'm like, fuck you guys. I literally fucking don't care if this kills you. Here you go. I don't know how old this salsa is. I found it on the ground. Enjoy. The things that, you know, it's crazy. Honestly, people that are rude to service staff in any sort of food or drink capacity are insane to me. Because the things that I would do to people's food that were dicks to me at that cinema when I worked on the food stand is crazy. Like, if you came up and you were like a complete prick to me, there is not anything I wouldn't do to that food. I would fuck that food up. I would make sure, because I know what's stale and what's fresh. I know what's rancid. I know what's probably been fucking picked up off the ground. A hot dog that went on the ground earlier on and I put back onto the fucking rotating thing. It's exclusively for you, pal. You get this one that I dropped on the ground and no one fucking saw me pick it back up and put it on here and mark it mentally. You get it. Because you came up here and you were just being an absolute dickhead to me and the other staff members. It's unreal to me that you would, the things that you, like people sending, I've never sent food back in my life. Food comes out and it's wrong. I love it. I'm not sending that back. That's coming back filled with cum. That's coming back filled with a person's spit. Are you crazy? You sent food back to the thing? You sent someone some extra work to do? I would piss on it and send it back out. And I wouldn't even change it. I would just go, oh, they wanted more what? Fuck, I've got like 8 other things to cook. What? This guy wants what? He wants more fries? What, are you fucking kidding me? He's got the same amount as everyone else. I've pissed on it. Take it back. He wants more seasoning? Fart on it. I don't care if it kills you. You're an asshole. That was my mentality. Although I do that now as well. If I cook food for other people, if people come to my house and I make them any sort of food, I will go out of my way to make sure that it gives them food poisoning. Because then they know how it feels to be me. With an allergy. And they then have to spend the next 48 hours feeling really bad. They're like, oh man, I feel really bad. Oh, I've had this shit, so I really don't feel well. And I'm like, yeah. This is how I feel when you fucking force me to eat some shit with the rest of you just to join in. And you're like peer pressuring me to eat whatever everyone else is when I've said no like 8 times. And you're like, go on, just have one. Why not? Oh, it's only a bit. It's not how it works. Fuck you. All of you can have the shits for 48 hours. So. I had a conversation at work once and I said, if I was queen of the world, it would be mandatory. 1 year of retail work before you can get your next job, then you know what it's like on the other side. Yes, I completely agree with that. I think everyone should work in retail, but I also think that the problem is that everyone's different, and you're confusing a lot of people with you and the way that you approached that kind of thing. A lot of people just don't care. They worked retail and they're still the same dickhead. They're just the same kind of Karen because their brain is wired differently. One of the words, the like lines, that show that I turned off that I was watching, Windbreaker, he had like a really interesting line. It was like really drawn out and stupid, but the line was, he was like, do you know what it means to be an adult? Now it's kind of a weird way to phrase it, but I think it's Japanese, right? So the way that they approach things like this probably doesn't translate perfectly well. But he was like, it is imagination and empathy. That's the difference between being a child and an adult. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. Like that's I liked that sentence. You know, it at least gave me a moment to pause and think about that approach to the world, if you have an imagination and empathy, you're probably going to be a pretty decent person. You'll still make mistakes and you'll still like fuck up and this, that, the other. But generally, if you have those two things, if you can imagine how it feels to be someone else, whether you've worked that job or whether you've had that sickness or whether you've been in a similar situation or you've worked outside or, whatever it is, if you have a bit of an imagination and the ability to empathize, those two things combined, probably you're not going to be a Karen about things. But also I think there are just a lot of people, they understand what it's like to work those jobs. They understand it, but their own personal fucking bullshit doesn't allow them. They're either just like a psychopath basically, and they just don't care about other people, and they just sort of, the way that they view the world is themselves first, and everyone else. Like, I know so many people like this, that their perspective is, I'm doing what I'm doing and you're doing what you're doing. If you don't like how you feel right now, stop doing whatever you're doing and do something different. Even if I'm the person inflicting on you, you should just make the same choices that I've made in my life to get to the point where I'm not upset by what other people do, because I put myself first in every situation. And there's like a kind of logic to it. This is every fucking YouTuber. This is every Twitch streamer at the top of their game. This is every CEO. But they're all kind of like, they all have this kind of mentality that's sort of like, you're in control of your destiny and I'm in control of mine. But they don't really understand that the way that they got there is very different to the way that you got to where you are. You know what I mean? Like, they were brought up by a CEO in like a perfect house, and you suffered an extreme amount of trauma, or it's that kind of thing. But there is a sort of logic to it, which is sort of like, just don't do the thing that's upsetting you anymore. And that's kind of where their brain is at. So that's a lot of Karens and stuff. I think that they're just like, well, I'm just doing this thing because I don't want this to be like this, and you're the person I'm bringing it to because you brought me this food, or I'm annoyed that this, that, the other. And then I think the other people are just like fully unhealed children who are 63 years old and have just never thought about or faced their own mental health issues. And so they're just still unable to not put their own bullshit, or let their own bullshit take the wheel all the time. So they're just like getting annoyed about stuff and they can't regulate that. So they just get fucking fully triggered in a queue for some popcorn. And by the time they get to the front, they're just insane because they're not able to regulate their own thoughts and feelings and stuff. So they're just kind of like crazy. And so they're just like, and you did this and they have to let it out somehow, but they don't have the emotional intelligence to figure out how to do it in any, non-abrasive way. I feel like those are pretty much all of the Karens in the world. They're either kind of psychopathic and narcissistic, or they're just like basically just traumatized, unhealed children who have no emotional intelligence whatsoever. And that's, that's men and women. We call them all Karens, but I think there's a lot of, I worked in a place where I installed car radios into cars, and there are a lot of men that are fucking annoying Karens when it comes to things about their cars and shit, and it is fucking unbearable. I'm sure you can imagine. Just fucking so like, but I think working in retail would be good for people who are able to empathize, because I think some people just don't understand. I'm sure we're all guilty of this. If you've never had the experience, it's quite hard to truly fully fathom some experiences. A lot of experiences you can be like, oh, I can imagine how much that would suck, and you're just like, yeah, that sounds really annoying when people tell you about it. And then there's living it and knowing it and going, fuck yeah, I remember that. There's a bit of a difference there. And there's some stuff that I think is really hard to truly fathom until you've experienced it. One of them being chronic illness. I didn't know quite how fucking unbearable it is having a chronic illness until I had one for 6 months. And honestly, it hasn't gone away. I'm actually scared that I was like, oh, at least mine's going away. And now I'm like, what if it isn't? So like you can empathize to a degree, but really living something really gives you a different perspective as well. So I do think that 1 year of retail work is important and everyone should do it, but I also don't think it would cure it. It wouldn't be a cure-all for the end of it. Some people who are treated poorly become more empathetic, and some people take it out on others. Exactly, yeah. There isn't always, you know, what worked for you doesn't always work for everyone else, and that goes both ways, you know. I was already nice before I worked in retail, if you say so. Now I'm even more understanding than before, if you say so. And retail people know how to appreciate. I feel you always know which customers are decent by the way they treat you. I'm at this point in my life, I generally go out of my way to either be really nice and you know, pleasant regardless of my experience in almost any situation where like my retail experience is like clearly just someone working there, not the person that owns the company, you know, none of that shit, just someone who's doing a shift and is not bothered about this job, and it's just like, this is what I do to make ends meet, and is not really being bad at it or awful or evil. I'll go out of my way to either be nice to them or just be as accommodating as possible, whatever that is, but should be as quick as possible. Get in and get out, that kind of thing. Because I know that they're just like, let me get through this fucking queue. It's a fucking 5:30 rush. Can't wait for an hour from now when there's nothing going on. I'm just listening to the radio and bored, standing at this till, you know? I know that whole thing so well. But yeah, I think I'm generally really nice to those people. I don't really fuck with them too much. I will fuck with them in the least harmful way sometimes. Like I'll put on a Scottish accent. But that's just to make my friends laugh. I used to do it to Emma all of the time. We would go and like, I'd be buying something and I'd be like, how much is that, love? £5. All right. Oh, no, I wasn't expecting it to be so much. Here you go. And Emma would just be like going bright red, like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'd be like, thank you very much. Do you want a receipt with that? No, don't worry. Don't worry, it's just a sandwich. And I'd walk out and Emma would be like, you're fucking, oh my God. You know, the retail worker doesn't give a fuck. You're just number 953. Customer number 953, and then I leave. It almost doesn't matter what people are doing if it's not directly to you, you know? When you're just doing retail and you're just scanning an item and then you take the money and put it in the till, couples will come up and they're clearly like fucking around or flirting, or they're like halfway through a conversation. Nothing they're doing matters to you at all. At all. They could be doing some mad shit. They're fingering each other. And I'm just like, give me the thing that you want to scan. Okay, don't touch me. And here's the money, here's your change. So yeah. And they just carry on. I don't care. You don't give a fuck, you know? It's why no jokes ever land with retail workers, because I used to I will crack a joke with a retail worker in the hopes that it will brighten their day a lot of the time. Because it's nice when you have a nice interaction with people when you're in retail as well. When you are just kind of zoning out, but then you do meet someone that's nice and they're just nice to you and, you know, whatever. And then they leave and it is not a problem. It's actually nice because you're like, oh, that was not awful. Because you're expecting boring or awful. That's the line. There's very rarely anything else. So sometimes if a joke comes up, I can't help myself. I ride the wave. I'll like crack a joke with them, but they never get it because they're not expecting it so much that it goes over their heads. They're just like, huh? And you're like, oh, I just went off script and said something funny about what you just said about how much that was, but don't worry. Sometimes when I buy weird items, I do this joke a lot because I love how much it only hits 50% of the time. Is when you buy, try this with a retail worker, right? When you go to like a Tesco or a Co-op or whatever, 7-Eleven, I don't know where you buy things in America. When you go to like a grocery store or something, but you're buying 3 weird items because you have the other stuff, but you just that day need lettuce, moisturizer, and dog food, right? So you bring just those 3 items. You have all the stuff for the salad apart from the lettuce. Your moisturizer's run out, so you need some more because you don't want to be ashy. And the dog needs food. So those are the only 3 items you need. Bring them up to the till And then when they're scanning them, go, this is going to be a really weird dinner. You know, or you make a joke like that. And then the three weird items, right? It hits 50% of the time exactly. One time you'll go in and they'll be like, oh yeah, and they don't give a fuck. And they'll laugh at it. And another time they'll just go, what? And they just don't know what the fuck you said to them. They're just so confused. It's hilarious. Because they're just never expecting anyone to talk to them or care. And they don't care either. I think a lot of people don't understand that either, and they get annoyed when there's just a 16-year-old, especially in the UK, because we have no customer service. In the UK, it's just a 16-year-old like, bleep, bleep, £7, please, thank you, next. That's the best customer service you'll get, and it's what we want as well. We don't want any of that. If I go up and someone's like, hi, welcome to the thing today. Do you want something with a thing? And would you like a table for 4? And would you like some water? And can we get you anything else? I'm like, oh my God. Get the fuck off me. You know, I feel like I'm being smothered. I hate it. It's too much. American customer service makes me feel crazy by the time I leave the country. So in the UK, someone's just like, how much? Yeah, fuck off. And you're just like, thank you so much. That was so much better than what I was expecting. But they are never expecting you to interact with them. And I don't want to either, for the most part. I actually love the introduction of like self-scan stuff, because if I don't have to talk to anyone or I don't have to be observed, it's brilliant. I love self-scan shit. If I can go in and just beep, 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 do my own thing, pack my bag and get the fuck out, and it's all done quicker and there isn't someone talking to me and I don't have to run the risk of, you know, whatever. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. Minty, thank you for the 10 months, by the way. I'm gonna drink some water for Cat. A little bit delayed, Minty. Minty's like, this fucking guy, I want my money back. I make an effort to at least look everyone in the eye and greet them. Just acknowledging someone's existence should be the bare minimum. Yeah, I mean, I do that as well, but like sometimes you just, I guess it comes down to like how good you are at reading other people as well, and just understanding basic social etiquette. But I mean, a lot of the time I'm just knackered and I don't fucking want to talk to you either. And I just look at them and I'm like, this guy, from his perspective, you're just a dummy, like a crash test dummy walking up, a faceless, you could be wearing any, it doesn't matter. You're just a sea of faceless people, because he's thinking about what he's going to do when he goes home. He's thinking about this thing he's got to do in a minute with it. There's a delivery coming. He's thinking about, you know, you're just at work when you're doing that job. And everything you're doing is almost autopilot. You're just like, bleep, 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 bleep. £7, thank you. It's £3 back. See you later. You know? You don't even care. Nothing matters. You're thinking about when you go home, what you're going to have for dinner, whatever. I don't even think you honestly need to be nice to service retail workers, but I do think you have to not be a dick to them. Unless they like own the store and they've clearly fucked something up and it's like, oh my God, this was such a runaround because you suck at what you're doing. Or they're being rude too. There are times when you'll go into a retail thing and you're just like, hey, excuse me, can you just tell me, excuse me, hi, can you just, oh my God. And they're just not doing it. You're like, they're not even doing, they're not busy. I'm the only person in here. What the fuck? How are there 4 people? And I'm clearly just like fucking crying. That annoys me. There's times when like retail workers are just dickheads back and you're like, fuck you, man. But even then I don't really do anything about it. I'm just like, oh, wow, that was fucking shitty. Like when you're trying to buy a beer at a bar and you're a man, you know, being a guy trying to buy a drink and you're just like, can I get a pop? Hi, excuse me. Okay, I'm going to put my fucking wallet on the front there so they know that I'm like waiting. Walk past me again. She walked past me. She walked past me. He's looking at her. Excuse me, can I? Okay, I'll take my card out so they know that I'm waiting to purchase something and I'll rest that on top of my wallet. Hey, could you get... And then you just go, hey, how old are you? And she goes, I'm 21. And you go, can you buy me a beer? And I'll give you 50 quid. Can you flag him down and just order me a pint? And she's just walked up. He's like, huh? Yeah, sure. Excuse me, can I get a beer? And he just pours it. A pint for you. And I'm like, yeah, there's 50 quid for you. Fuck Christ. Never let these chicks say like that men have it easier in every way. Because it's just not true. There are shitty little things that it's way worse being a man about. Okay? I'd rather not get served at a bar than have every walk home from the train station be an absolute fucking post-apocalyptic nightmare. I'll pick the I'm not getting served at the bar as quickly every time. But I'm just saying there are times when it's annoying. Alright? Women. Fucking hell, dude. Just needed a moment. I realized that I was just sort of being myself for an hour. And I had to bring back the character. Republican Brad. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just having a conversation. And I'm sure that that's entertaining for some people. But there are other people in here that want me to say something that I'm not allowed to say. And I've got to entertain those people because we're running out of viewers. And someone tells you to smile more. That never happens to men. That's a good example. Men never get told to smile more, do they? But women, oh god, I feel like you should legally be allowed to rip someone's lips off. You should be able to Joker them. Dark Knight Joker them. If a bloke comes up to you and they're like, you should smile more, or like, you know, what do they say? They say like, it won't last forever or whatever. They'll say something like, there's a phrase that they'll say. And you're like, what? And they're like, whatever you're pissed off about, cheer up, you know, that kind of thing. And you're just doing your own thing. You're like perfectly happy, but you're just like thinking. Those men that do that, I feel like you should legally be able to press a button and a fucking drone flies in and restrains them. And you can take out a flick knife if you choose and cut the sides of their fucking lips up to their cheeks and give them the Joker smile and then send them on. Can't be that bad, yeah. One of those. And give them a permanent fucking Chelsea smile. If any man says that to you. And it should just be completely legal. You know? And then also we'd all know those men. I think if you're over the age of like 25 and you say that, a drone should fly in and you should be able to cut their fucking mouth open into a permanent smile while smiling at them. That's what I think should happen. And then we'd all know those men. They'd walk around. Might never happen. That's what I was thinking. Minty Mash. Yeah, people that do that one. Oh my god, the amount of might never happens that I've seen. I've got a few of them in my life, to be fair. I feel like it happens to women so much worse than men. I've had so many. I have full-blown resting bitch face. I just fucking... I mean, I am a bitch. You know, I'm an asshole. I'm a misanthrope. I hate other people. I hate everything for the most part and have to really force myself to just sit and be present and be like, you know what? That's fucking beautiful. That sunset is fucking beautiful. I'm really happy to be here with you guys. You know, other than that, I'm just like, fuck this, man. I want to go home and play Marvel Rivals. Yeah, might never happen or whatever. Oh, you should be able to present in court. He said might never happen to me, and they go, you're off. It's all good. She was up for first-degree murder. Yeah, but so it turns out the guy said might never happen, and we have the proof. So scot-free. You have a nice day. Here's the compensation for the day off work you had to take today and that other day when you killed a man. Well, the real world is awful, isn't it, guys? How about we play some D&D?
and kind of tricks or shootery. Rice, Leary, Rice, it's time to claim your victory. Fight, fight, fight till the fight is won. Run, run, run if it can't be done. Hide, hide, hide till we're out of the sight. Rice, Leary, Rice, let's roll the dice. Win, 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 Leary, save us all. Spin, spin, spin on the magic wall. Roll, roll, roll till you know your call. Rice, Leary, Rice, let's roll the dice. Go, 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 let your legend be born. Fall, fall, fall with magic adorned. Soar, 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 always ready for more. Rice, Leary, Rice, let's roll the dice. Never surrender, never give in. Leary, step ahead and let your arrows sing. Lift your head, embrace the dawn, ready to rise. Rice, Leary, Rice, let's roll the dice.
It's time for Twitch Plays D&D. Here we are. The wheel has been reset and recolored. I went with pastels this time. Corn Frog, I don't think you know. That's... Look. Relax. I'll explain how it works in a minute. Last time you did a little special quest to help Gary recover his lost gifts. The quest returns to explore, and we're going to explore the Crossroads Tavern. Because that's where you're at. If you'll recall, 2 weeks ago, you on the world map chose to... you did all these. These are completed areas of the open world nature of this game. You did the wildflowers, the stone circle, the natural spring, the monument, the tower, and on that journey, you're now here at the crossroads just outside of Badgerbrook. There's a little crossroads, and at this crossroads, there's a traveler's tavern, an inn. When you arrived here, a little gnome came out dressed in a Santa's outfit and said, "Oh, would you help me? I'm trying to find all my lost gifts." Which you did do. You helped Santa Gary recover the lost gifts. And with, I guess, a magical moment, you are transported back from the Winter Plain to the Crossroads Tavern. Here, so this is Leary and your companion Lancelot. You have a second companion, Snotflap, who didn't come with you previously. And the way this works is this is for Corn Frog and anyone who's never been here before. You are in control, chat, of a character known as Leary, who is a soldier, fighter from another continent, who's come to this continent to become a mercenary, and has been taking on sort of side quests and things. Currently at 6 HP. The character sheet is available on D&D Beyond. There is some stuff on there. I don't know how to adjust away from some of the things that are on there, but this is also the character sheet. And you are making decisions based on that. Now, the option will come up to suggest what you want to do, Corn Frog, at some point. And then we take from that what everyone wants to do, or potentially we roll some dice or whatever. So picking up from the last session, what happens is the two characters return to the area that they were taken from, which is the area outside of the Crossroads Tavern. There is this kind of large crossroads that serves as a It's maybe a mile outside of Badgerbrook. There is this just travelers crossroads. Rather than people going all the way into Badgerbrook, somebody at some point clearly decided to erect a tavern on the outside and outskirts of the town so that people can just pass through if they were going from one side of Badgerbrook to the other, rather than having to go all the way into the town or city itself. And you come to this crossroads finally. Valorant. Valorant are gifting subs. That's right. Thank you for the gift sub, Shadow. Every 10 gift subs, we spin the wheel up there and something random will happen, which we'll do in a second. Also today, for every 5 gift subs, Valorant gifts another one. So, thank you, Valorant. And Lux, I guess. But mostly Valorant. I think as you sort of see Lyri and Lancelot warp in from the Winter Realm, Lyri sort of wearing an oversized knitted jumper, as well as some of the other items that you collected on the winter excursion. You picked up some stuff. An ugly sweater, a stocking of holding, a candy cane, a candle, a woolen stocking, a holiday lantern, reindeer antlers, an ornament of fire, which is a red ornament that explodes as a fireball spell, and a couple of potions, an elixir of mistletoe charm, makes the drinker irresistibly charming, and a potion of gift wrapped illusion, which allows you to cast disguise self once per hour. The two characters reappear. There's no sign of Snotflap here. As you look around, you see a tavern. Very clearly a tavern. You can hear the sounds of tavernness on the inside of the building. There's a sign at the top of this thing which says that this is known as the Tanglefoot Tavern, sitting sort of at the edge of these crossroads, leaning slightly to one side as if it's sort of grown tired from decades of weathering. As a pretty standard looking rough-hewn stone with wooden structuring wrapped in some creeping vines and ivy. A lot of the leaves here probably tinged kind of golden by the late afternoon sun. That sign maybe lazily swinging, a hand-painted sign of a foot tangled in vines with the Tanglefoot Tavern written in common, sitting above the doorway. The air out here is clean and clear. It smells like wildflowers from the nearby fields. There's a couple of houses here as if some people had settled down. They probably work at the tavern. But there is a scent of sort of savoury meat drifting out from the chimney of this tavern. There are a few horses hitched to the hitching post. And you can kind of hear the sounds of the tavern from the door slightly ajar. As Lyri and Lancelot appear, their boots and greaves crunching on the gravel just outside the door. You can maybe hear the sounds of like, "Way, do it again, here's a coin," the sound of a coin flicking, and you hear a voice, a familiar voice, say, "All right, one more backflip, coming right up." Way! Everyone erupts into kind of laughter, but coming from like inside the tavern. So let's see here. You've earned some wheel spins before we get into it. Jesus Christ, lots of wheel spins from Valorant, exclusively from Valorant today. Who have we got to thank? Dan for the Emperor, Q Margie, thank you very much. Nayanar, how you doing? Femore Butts. Thank you for the 5. Kara with the resub. Thank you very much. How are you? Insta Rage. Thank you for the 5. Bew. I'm not going to say anything about you, Bew, but I was about to, and I'm not going to. Durky Dirk. Anxiety, you know. Durky Dirk, thanks for the 5. Gift subs. Cutter Slade, thank you for the resub. Glitchy, how are you doing? Thank you for the 5. Plum Rugs crept in for the D&D portion of the stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And then Valorant, really stacking these wheel spins. We are up to fucking 7 to start the day. So before you step into the Tanglefoot Tavern, let's see what you get on the wheel. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it. This is our last episode before the end of the year. Quadvantage on your next roll. Quadvantage. I also want to go over what you have equipped. You have a new scroll. But you have Quadvantage on your next roll, which means you roll 4 times and take the highest number from whatever you roll next. So you know that's to come. Next spin of 7 that you've earned. Another Quadvantage. Times 2. Dang it. Imagine they were all Quadvantage. I actually thought that landed on Quadvantage again because it's a similar color. You get an item. Roll me a d20, chat. Roll me a d20. You get a random item from this list. Exclamation point roll d20 in the chat to roll a dice, and it will pick one at random. We can take that 19 from Draxman. We'll take the first one. Normally we'll take 2, but you get a pair of tongs. A Christmas cracker gift. Absolutely useless. Well, we'll see. But just remember you have a pair of tongs that maybe you can use for something today. We'll see. It says Draxman on the side. A pair of tongs appearing inside of your stocking of holding. All of a sudden. All right, let's spin the wheel for your next spin. That was 3, right? This is 4 of 7. A potion. Get a random potion. And you know what? Roll me a d20 again. And we'll take the second roll this time. This doesn't count as Quadvantage. This is just we're going to take the second roll so we can flush out the previous ones before. Hi, Plasma Shade. Welcome in. Shadow, thank you for the 5 gift subs again. Feemore, thank you for the 5 gift subs. I grabbed a couple of new songs. I like this one. It sounds very classic D&D. I'm trying to get my brain into a classic D&D place because I really want my next table story campaign to be pretty traditional, which is a weird place to be in. I'm already thinking about how do I advertise this thing, because everyone's like doing these really cool. The whack is like, check out this guerrilla marketing. A 4, whack was like, here's this really cool concept. PB's like, here's this fucking insane concept. And I'm like, does anyone want a normal, really normal D&D game? No. No one wants that, but it's what I want to run and what I'm going to run. And Whack and PB are like, can you please just, can you stop being so shit? But also, at this point on Table Story, presenting something as just sort of a classic D&D game. You know? With no crazy concept. You lost your memories because you went through a magical gate. No. You know? It's an isekai with... No. You like vampires, but you're also in a different universe and also my other universe. No. The world is ending and death is coming to kill you and there's nothing you can do about it. No. Normal D&D. What if we just had a normal D&D game? Now, can I actually run one of those? I don't think so. But I'm going to try. You have received a potion of itch resistance. That's so useless. You're immune to itching, natural or magical, for 1 hour. You got an antihistamine. You got an antihistamine potion. What are these? You got some Pyretes. Potion of itch resistance. You're immune to itching, natural or magical, for 1 hour. Some of these potions are like really random, and some are like really shit and mundane, and some are like really epic. And the same goes for the items. And it's just so funny to me that so far you've like pulled like a wooden spoon and a fucking set of tongs and a potion of itch resistance. Some of these I don't... There's a potion here that I straight up do not want you to get, because it will ruin the game. So let's go. What was that? What are we up to? 8 rolls? Jesus Christ. Who provided us with 8? Fujoshki. His name's definitely just Josh, but wanted to like really appear really cool. Domo arigato. My name is Fujoshki. Teleports behind you. Nothing personal, kid. I'm a Fujoshki. Okay, here we go. What are we on? 5? We'll spin 5 now. An instant potion. This one's a different situation. You know what? No. Roll me a d20. We'll take it from this same potion list. You'll get one of these instantly. The effect of one of these instantly. Roll me a d20, chat. We'll take the second roll. There's a potion of wind D&D. I should add that in. You're right. I will. Things have to all be d20 tables, because I would make a big d100 table. But you can't roll a d100 in the chat. I might have a go at adding another thing to the bot and see if we can add some other D rolls, you know, the other ones, D4s and D8s and numbers and such and the like. I started watching Squid Game. I said I would, and I did it. Did I only watch 3 episodes? Yes. Am I halfway through the 3rd episode? Yes. Am I enjoying it so far? So far, I'm actually impressed that they have not made it incredibly shit. You'd think that a sequel of something like Squid Game would be really bad, but so far the first 2.5 episodes I've watched, yeah, I'm into it. I actually really like the way they went with it. I thought they were going to do something different, but I'm actually kind of into what they've done. It's kind of cool, but I won't say anything about it because it's brand new, innit? What did we get? A 6? The instant effect of the potion of mild warmth. Warms your body, protecting you from cold weather for 8 hours. Congratulations, you feel warm. I'm okay with that. I wish I had it IRL. You've got an antihistamine and 8 hours of the heating on. I don't think Lyri would even notice. You know, you appear in this nice sunny crossroads. You have no curses active, I don't think. Oh no, you do. You have the curse of derealization. Anything experienced by the cursed while alone is entirely fictional. The only real experiences they have are those shared by at least one other member of the party. Now, in rereading that, it feels like it literally means that it doesn't happen. But I took it to be the perspective of Lyri. So Lyri just has derealization. If anyone in here has any sort of anxiety disorders and potentially has dissociative disorders like derealization or depersonalization, you understand what it is. I have derealization. Thank God I haven't suffered it too badly in a little while, but when I do get it, it's a fun one. When you say Fujoshki, Fujoshki hates me. He's like, you don't understand. I am the savior of this world. Teleports behind you. Nothing personal. He's on his way to get me. Didn't the witch removed that? No. That one you got after the witch encounter. Anonymous gifted a sub to Valorant. Valorant gifted a sub to Valorant. Oh, you gifted a sub to Valorant. Hilarious. All right, what are we on? Wheel spin 6. Here we go. An instant long rest. That is something that you did need, and that is for both yourself and Lancelot. So you don't have to do a long rest. Your health recovers instantly. The spell wind blows through the area. I think you did use all this stuff, huh? So all of these recover. I think you did use your action surge and your second wind, which returns. Now the spell scroll is different. You only have... You took power word pain, which I think was a 7th level. Power word pain is a 7th level enchantment, and the rules for scrolls, you have 10 minus the spell level casts. So you have 3 full casts of power word pain. Power word pain causes a wave of intense pain to assail one creature you see within range. If the target has 100 hit points or fewer, it is subjected to crippling pain. While the target is affected by crippling pain, any speed it has can be no higher than 10 feet. The target also has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws, other than Constitution saving throws. Finally, if the target tries to cast a spell, it must succeed on a con saving throw, or it fails it. So that is the spell scroll that you are currently armed with. All magic in this world is cast via spell scrolls, apart from a handful of very special original magic users in the world. And they are extremely rare and powerful individuals indeed. I really enjoy this setting and this version of D&D, and I would like to sit one day and make it into a thing that we can release on its own, you know. It's just an alternative set of rules for D&D and it's hyper simplified. So I feel like if you wanted just a more simple version of D&D to run, like with kids or something, this is the way to do it, you know. It just limits how much of it is overdone. I don't know. Maybe no one cares. Kumagi, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Debiru sets us over 100, so you get double spins on the 100 mark. So what is this spin about to happen? 6? Something good. And here we go. The first... What do you want to happen? What do you want to happen? This is like a minor wish, so nothing major. You can't just be like, I want the most powerful Vorpal sword in the world. Just a minor thing, something cool that could happen, or maybe an item, or something small that you can have happen immediately, either in the narrative or mechanically, whatever you want. Just suggest them. If it feels too powerful, I'll just veto it. Snotflap appears with food. Suggestions in the chat room, and we'll take, and then you can vote on which one you want. We enter the tavern, and Snotflap misty steps over everyone for a big hug. Snotflap, who is chaotic evil. The curse is removed, and we become immune to curses for 3 days. I think that's too powerful. We'll remove the curse. Remove that curse. Snotflap has made a helpful friend. A talking chicken gives us gold. Chicken. 2 more gifts from Santa Gary arrive. Snotflap teaches us how to backflip. We win a few rounds of Gwent and win money. Befriend a monk. We find 3 gold. Okay. The choice is yours. I'll put 10 options on there. What do you want to happen? Vote now. You can type the number next to the thing you want to vote for in the chat room and it will log it. This is only for, if you're in YouTube, you can only vote in the Twitch chat. 1, Snotflap appears with food. 2, we enter the tavern and Snotflap misty steps over for a big hug. 3, the curse is removed. 4, Snotflap has made a helpful friend. 5, a talking chicken gives us gold. 6, 2 more gifts from Santa Gary arrive. 7, Snotflap teaches us how to backflip. 8, we win a few rounds of Gwent and win money. 9, you befriend a monk. Or 10, we find 3 gold. I'll let you vote on which one of those things you want to happen. Something good will happen now. Whichever one of those you think should happen, you can vote for it right now. 3 whole gold bars? No way, that's going to be 3 gold coins. Monkey's Paw is always active. What wheel spin was that? Does anyone know? You're going to have to type a number and it's going to make you vote for whatever it was. Write it with words. Even that might do it. That was 4. That was not 4. That was 7. Okay. Here's number 8. Another instant potion. You can roll me a d20 in the chat. While we do this. 2 more gifts from Santa Gary will arrive as well. So let's do all of that now. We'll just take the first number. No, we won't. In fact, yes, we will. We'll take the 1 and we'll take that 11 and then roll me another one because those will be the gifts you get as well. So the potion effect is the potion of slight sweetness. Makes anything you drink for the next hour taste mildly sweet. No other effect. So that's great. Just outside of a tavern, everything that you taste will taste slightly sweet and anything you drink will taste slightly sweet. And the other thing is that you're warm. You're warm no matter what. And then also, I need to pull up the Santa Gary table. Because you get 2 more items from that, which was an 11 and a 16. An 11 is a gingerbread shield. A shield shaped like a gingerbread cookie. Grants +1 AC. Now, this is useless to you because you have an amazing shield. But you do have, and you could sell, a gingerbread shield. Which is a magic item. +1 AC and smells delicious. It is edible. You could just eat it. Is also 10 rations. A protective ration. And then a 16 was a peppermint wand. This is much better. A wand with 7 charges. Oh wait, no, you can't have a peppermint wand. There's no such thing. It's a peppermint scroll. With frostbite. This is a scroll. Scroll of frostbite is what this is. Frostbite is a cantrip. So this is an endless thing. You cause numbing frost to form on one creature that you can see within range. The target must make a con save, or on a failed save, the target takes 1d6 cold damage and has disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn. This is a good cantrip for what is essentially a one-player game, but you also have Power Word Pain. So, which scroll do you want? Keep Power Word Pain. 3 casts. Switch to Frostbite, which is unlimited because it's a cantrip. And if you're confused because you're like, what? Why can't we take this spell? In this world, there is the way to cast spells is through your singular spell scroll. Everyone has a spell scroll that is attuned to them personally, cannot be stolen or switched or swapped. If you have a spell written on that, you can cast it. The way that it works is the more powerful the spell, the less casts you have of that spell. So you either have 3 casts of a 7th level enchantment called Power Word Pain, or you have a cantrip, which is a much less powerful spell, but you can cast an unlimited amount of times. Frostbite. The choice is yours. Less casts of a much more powerful spell, or an unlimited cast of a cantrip. Can we save the scroll for later because it's Christmas? No. Because it's not a scroll that you're being handed, it's the arcane enchantment on your personal scroll. You're scribing, or someone is scribing a new spell onto your scroll in this moment. In this situation, it's the spell wind that blows and makes it happen. Grinch. The rules of the world. Okay, this is literally the reason we're doing this is because it's so confusing to try and run a game with as many rules as D&D 5e, which is the most streamlined D&D ever anyway. And this is the only way to do it, is to just sort of limit things like this. And also it's the fault of a fall of a wizard. So you can blame him. Okay, keeping Power Word Pain instead is the plan here. So instead of taking Frostbite, you have the scroll Power Word Pain, which remains. All right. So those were the gifts. Let's spin the wheel again for number 9. Another scroll. Okay. Let's do it again. Random scroll generator. Okay, locate object. Feel like another very useful spell, but it's not Power Word Pain. So, which scroll? So the options are again, keep. Just do this. Or switch to locate object. So locate object is a 2nd level divination, so you would have 8 casts of this. Describe or name an object that is familiar to you. You sense the direction of the object's location as long as that object is within 1,000 feet of you. If the object is in motion, you know the direction of its movement. The spell can locate a specific object known to you as long as you have seen it up close within 30 feet at least once. Alternatively, the spell can locate the nearest object of a particular kind, such as a certain kind of apparel, jewelry, furniture, tool, or weapon. The spell can't locate an object if any thickness of lead, even a thin sheet, blocks a direct path between you and the object. So it sort of just does what it says on the tin, really, that spell. The choice is yours. Keep Power Word Pain. Switch to locate object. Which do you want for your scroll? Do the spells go off of traditional casting modifier and need to follow component rules? Yes. Yeah, everything else is kind of the same. You're casting it. You don't really need the components because you all of them would be verbal, I think, because they're all scroll casting. So I think the component element is verbal always. And the casting modifier is, when it comes up, is whatever your spellcasting ability casting modifier would normally be. The component is the ink that slowly fades away as we use the scroll, yeah. But everyone wants to keep power word pain, okay. Yeah, I haven't worked out like all of the kinks from the specifics of how this works yet, because we're just making this up on the fly. By the way, this campaign is entirely procedurally generated, including the rules of the type of D&D that we're playing. I don't really prepare a huge amount before each of these sessions. Sometimes I'll prepare like a piece of music, or if I know you're going into a tavern, I might prepare a fucking shitty image to just give you an idea of what's going on. But most of the time I am pulling everything out my ass, or, you know, throwing it up on ChatGPT or something. It's a very useful co-DM. Mr. Kip, thank you for the 93 fucking months. It's insane. Let's do another wheel spin, shall we? You've got 2 on 100. You get 2 wheel spins. You get a free one for being so incredibly generous. Your next roll will be a 20, so that's your third roll. Next roll 20, so you get quad vantage, and then a natural 20, no matter what, depending on what's called for. And regardless of what you roll, it will be a natural 20. And then the final roll, we're going to have very little time for actual gameplay today. Another quad vantage. That is ridiculous. It's especially ridiculous for what I have planned. I think now would be a good time to step in to the tavern. The door opens and Lyri steps in wearing a sort of wearing a Christmas outfit. Followed by Lancelot, the current companion that you have equipped, because you equip companions like Fallout in this. Both of them relatively well armored. Lancelot in sort of shining plate. Lyri with the sort of, well, I guess at the moment has a winter jumper. What do you call them? Sweater in America. I have to translate everything to American, by the way. If you ever wonder why Brad always says everything in American, it's because you have to they can't do English, but we can do American, so I do it that way. So I have to constantly be translating to sweater instead of jumper, because they won't know what the fuck happened. And as you step in, this is a pretty decent looking tavern, considering it's just sort of sitting outside of a town. I could figure out immediately. Oh, eventually. All right, I'll allow you. So as you step in, you walk into this sort of decent-sized tavern. There's a sort of glow of lanterns that sit around the walls. There are these circular, interestingly sort of shaped wooden, almost like wagon wheels that have lanterns on the inside that are also casting a glow that run along the center of this tavern across the off of the low ceiling here. timber beams crisscrossing across the ceiling as well. The scent of sort of spiced ale. There's some roasting meats. The sort of tang of old wood pipe smoke as well. That classic scent of a pub and an inn. It's not a packed out experience in here. There's a lively crowd, but it's not a huge crowd that's like bursting. There's seats that are at these mismatched tables with these years of cobbled together seats and stools and different table sizes and shapes that look like they were probably from a dozen different taverns, and they've just kind of pulled this together. The bar is a sort of centerpiece, a sort of wide slab of polished oak, gleaming faintly, tended by a spry-looking halfling with a sort of an infectious grin as he glances around at his patrons, glancing over at the door as it opens. It's a place that actually makes you feel quite welcome immediately. It doesn't feel like a hive of scum and villainy, exactly. In one corner, there's a bard who looks exactly like Day by Dave, strumming a lute, their music sort of effortlessly weaving through the cheerful room. There's a hearth, I think, with a massive mounted elk head watching over the room as well. Antlers draped with these varying rings, iron rings that look like it's part of a game of skill. And the place feels kind of alive. It's very much a gathering spot for travelers. There are maybe some locals from Blackmane, maybe a couple of locals from the very small village, hamlet, the few houses that are outside here in this tavern. But for the most part, it seems like a place for adventurers and travelers, merchants. You can sort of sense their stories etched into the scuffed floorboards and dented tankards as Lyri and Lancelot step in. There's a group of people sitting pretty nearby who are laughing and slapping their legs. On the table in front of them is a blue goblin, rings in his ears, loads of it sort of looks like a classic 80s metalhead goblin. Blue skin, bald head, a mischievous grin, sharp teeth, as he jumps into the air, teleports higher. Before he lands and crashes into the table again, teleports in a way that softens his landing. Whoa! I did it again. Give me the gold. They flick a coin up to him. He grabs it, pockets it, turns around and says, "Oh shit! It's you! What's your name again?" Lyri, kind of putting their arms on their hips, says, "You know my name." "Yeah, I know it. Where did you go? I've been in here for days." Lancelot looks at Lyri and says, "We were gone for days? I feel like it could only possibly have been a couple of hours." "Yeah, maybe. I can't tell the time. I ain't never learned it." Lyri says, "That's not how telling the time works, Snotflap." "Well, it doesn't matter, does it? You're here now. Anyway, I haven't got any money, so maybe you could buy me some dinner? What do you say? You want to buy your old pal Snotflap a big dinner at this place? What do you reckon about it? Some dinner for Snotflap?" Do you buy Snotflap some dinner? Yes? No? The choice is pretty simple. Imperial Dawn, thank you for the 49-month resubscription, my friend. Und willkommen. Let's see. Now I need to pull up some information that I made a very long time ago about this tavern. Because I made this tavern absolutely forever ago. Basically, whenever you started doing this world map stuff. Because I thought you were going there next. And then you teleported. As ye are often to do. Alright, you're gonna buy him some dinner. Oh, he's a gnome, not a halfling. God damn it. The tavern owner. Leary shrugs and says, yes, of course, let's get some food. Lancelot, can you find us a table and I'll put an order in? Lancelot nods, looks around and heads into the center of the tavern, finding a kind of a round table, I think, naturally, sitting down at an empty but round table, doffing a couple of pieces of his armor, because it's difficult to sit comfortably with his very large long sword leaned up against the wall. Snotflap kind of teleports up towards Leary and says,
I want meat to eat, okay? I just eat meat, none of that green stuff.
Leary looks down. Yes, I know. He ports away and sits down at the table next to Lancelot.
Anyway, where did you go? I swear to God, you've been missing for a long time.
Lancelot begins to fill in. Well, there was a creature that came out of the tavern and sent us to the Winter Realm. As the two of them begin to get into a conversation, Leary steps up to the bar, the large oaken bar here, and the owner of the tavern, a gnome, steps forward and gives you a wide-eyed, quizzical look. His name is Lyndall Tanglefoot. He's been on this list for a long time. You might have noticed him as he was generated by me a good long time ago. He looks up at behind the bar on his side. There's like a full step that runs around on the other side of it. The bar is kind of human height, but a gnome moves across towards you guys. He's a sort of an elderly looking gnome, but he's kind of cool. He's got his hair pulled back in an interesting style and flicks up naturally away from his face. He's got these large kind of quizzical eyes and a friendly looking face, pierced ears, a kind of bushy beard that's a little scraggly and wild, with just a comfortable looking shirt and vest over the top. He is, of course, polishing a tankard as he walks over and says,
Well, hello there. What can I get for you? The name's Lyndall Tanglefoot. I own this place. And you can sit down and enjoy some food, or you can have, you can request songs from the bard over there. His name is Dave. He's very pleasant. Don't walk up behind him. He's very anxious about that. He tries to see brothers back to the world, but sometimes people walk up and ask him to play a song, and he gets very jumpy about that. So don't do that, but you can request a song from him. We have many games that you can play if you would rather test your skill or test your might. Would you like something to drink and some food, perhaps?
Leary says, yes, could I get food for myself and those two over there? Specifically, at least, perhaps whatever you have as meat on offer?
Yes, we have many meats. We got chickens, we got lambs. What do you want?
I suppose we'll have a little bit of each. And then if you have anything else, a little more nutritious.
We've got some vegetables. We got lots of. What about some spinach? It's got lots of magnesium in it for you.
Yes, sure. That sounds great. Perhaps some soup and bread.
Yes, we have soup and bread as well. You're very hungry. Have you been traveling far?
Yes, you could say that. Sort of brushing snow off of the shoulder. Lyndall says,
Yeah, you can sit down. We'll bring it over to you. What's your name?
do you give your real name? Yes. No. Well, this is a question that must always be asked after many years of DMing D&D. You just assume that they're going to be like, yeah, my name's Giles. But every D&D player is like, my name is Bertrand. Bertrand Tallis. And that's my name. Why is this suddenly a question? Because I've been DMing for a long time. Players never give their fucking real name, even though it's clearly a safe and friendly NPC, and absolutely nothing will go wrong while you're in this safe zone. It is an area designed specifically not to be dangerous in any way whatsoever. Players will be like, he's trying to kill us. Give a fake name. That's the enemy. He's in disguise self. I'm telling you right now. Okay? I'm not going to make any decisions on your behalf where I know all players will always... Look how many people are like, no, don't give the real name, I'm telling you. Don't fucking do it. There's a guard here from Badgerbrook for sure. Maybe. Yes, real name. Make me a perception check. We'll see if there's a guard in here from Badgerbrook. You have... Close the character sheet. Perception. You have a +4. We take the second roll to flush out all the old rolls. And I will find out if there is a guard in here from Badgerbrook or not. Because I don't know either. Okay. You have +4 to this, and you got a 2. Oh, you have quad vantage. Roll 4 times. We'll take all 4. Okay. So that was a 12. A 2. Keep rolling. We have to... I forgot you have 100 quad vantages to burn through. A 7. So can you beat a 12? And a 9. So a 12 is the highest, so it's a 16. As Leary sort of turns around, maybe resting on the bar for a moment, taking a look over some of the patrons here. The ones that stand out to you, which means they're the ones that when you walk up to them, they aren't just an NPC that goes, man, I can't believe I lost all my gold in a game of cards. And then you speak to them again and they go, oh man, I can't believe I lost all of my gold in a game of cards. Oh man, I can't believe I lost all, oh man, I can't believe. So these are the ones that you can actually walk up to and interact with. You see, sat by the door that you just walked in is a very large looking half-orc woman who appears to be the tavern's bouncer. She's sort of imposing a calm enforcer vibe. There is a halfling who is moving around. She's just sort of moving between each of the tables and handing out food and drink, so you get the sense that she's one of the servers here. There's another halfling that the server hands a drink to, a sort of quick-fingered looking, sharp-eyed, roguish type with a patched leather jacket with all of these clearly hidden compartments and pockets and things on. You see a burly looking dwarven stonemason with arms like tree trunks, a braided beard that jingles with these little tiny iron charms. He's got a big stein of ale, muttering about the decline of proper dwarven craftsmanship. You see a sort of a half-elf looking druidic type, a very untamed look to her hair tangled with leaves. She sort of smells faintly of flowers as she walks past and sits back down at her table. She looks up, glancing at Lyri, one green eye, one amber. There's a sort of a sense of magic about this one. She sits down and begins to tuck into a piece of a salad, probably, some sort of or some tofu. There's a human who is clearly a fisherman. He's got a bucket full of fishing things, 2 rods that are leaning up against the wall, sun-bleached hair, leathery skin, a hook for a left hand, and he's sitting at the bar, muttering and telling tales of his seafaring days to anyone who will walk past and listen, smelling sort of faintly of salt water and smoked fish. There's a tiefling in here, long kind of twisted and eventually curling horns that are ivory. They sort of curl forward elegantly and then rush backwards over her head. She's wearing a sort of flowing cloak that has got all of this silver embroidery, and they have a lute on their back. They're not playing it, but they have one. You can see another half-orc, a very surly looking individual, half his face kind of caught in the shadow as he sits at the back of the room watching everyone. A scarred face, a chipped tusk, very heavy armor looking like it's seen better days. Just sitting there, longsword on the table, a tankard of ale and one hand on the longsword, glaring at anyone that gets too close to him. There is a cleric. She looks like a human. She looks pretty, like, very similar to sort of a nun, wearing the holy symbol of a sort of a sunburst, sitting at a corner table, and she is sketching something into a leather-bound journal. A very calm presence about her. She sort of seems a little out of place here. There's a last individual sitting on the table next to where Lancelot and Snotflap are exchanging stories. You can see a sort of gnomish looking individual, probably some sort of tinkerer, covered in soot and grease, wild orange hair sticking up in all different directions, fiddling with this little contraption that looks like it could either explode or maybe it just brews coffee every now and then. He
Oh shit. Oh no, that's correct. Oh, this is great.
fiddling with this thing. No one in here looks like they belong to the guards watch of Badgerbrook. There doesn't seem to be anyone who looks like obviously a part of that I don't know what you would call them. They're almost a gang. And the closest thing to anything that resembles a person who's probably from Badgerbrook is the dwarf, who's clearly some sort of stonemason. He's possibly somebody that comes from one of the varying quarries and mines that are around Badgerbrook. But it doesn't look like anyone in here really belongs to Badgerbrook exactly. Most of them look like travelers. You get the sense that, you know, there's always the possibility that someone is in here and informing in some way, or, you know, they're just potentially they do work and they're kind of off duty or whatever. But it feels like at the moment this place feels very removed from Badgerbrook, and just seems like an assortment of random people. Do you want to re-equip anything? Potion, loot, and scroll is power, word, pain. Cloak of the Hunter, Mantle of Spell Resistance, Potion of Temporary Hit Points are all equipped. You could switch up some of these potions if you want. Temporary Hit Points, Potion of Water Breathing, Mermaid's Tail. There's a Charm Potion. I guess it doesn't matter. I think in here, unless you get into a fight, actively go out of your way to get into a fight, you can probably just drink any potion from the bag, you know, if you want. So I think we'll just say that's the rule rather than going through the whole thing of things. You also notice around this tavern that there are several games that you can partake in if you so wish. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games that seem to be taking place in here. There is an axe throwing contest. There is a catch the mug game. There's Dwarven Knucklebones. There's the Flaming Shot Challenge. There's Giant's Finger. There's a game of trivia, Tales of Badgerbrook, that is being played. There's a ring toss, and there's barrel balancing in the beer garden. So there are several mini games available in here, as well as several people that you can interact with. Alternatively, you can simply fucking eat dinner and continue on your journey if you would like. So I will give you some options as to what does Lyri do here. What does Lyri do? Partake in mini games, and then I'll give you a separate thing on which one you might want to do. Talk to patrons, and you can again talk to whoever you want. Eat, drink, hang with Lance and Snotflap. Eat, drink, leave. And then any other options. You've had a long rest thanks to the spell win, so you don't actually need to like rest if you don't want. So you can give me some options in here if you want. Buy everyone a drink is an option. 2 people. Sing with the bard. Another terrible option. Look for a bounty board. You know what? Check the bounty board. Ask the bartender if there is a vendor nearby. Request a song from Dave. Or ask the bard how he's doing and toss him a gold coin, which really falls underneath talk to patrons, and so does ask the bartender if there's a vendor nearby. So I guess remember those options, and if you want to, that's essentially talk to patrons. I'll leave request a song from Dave on there. Check for quest items above people's heads. Talk to patrons. And win D&D is obviously the last option. So let's go with this then. We'll go with generic first, and then we'll go specific, which is essentially what my brain is trying to do here. Welcome to running D&D for a lot of people. Playing one person. Why do I feel sick today? I feel sick tonight. Something in my stomach ain't sitting right. But I gotta overcome it. Trying to eat some food, maybe. I have a salted nut collection. Delicious. Thank you so much for the gift subs, by the way. I know a lot of them came through from Valorant, but it was still very generous right up front. I thought I was going to make no money today. That's why I spent so long just chatting shit at the beginning. Thought, fuck it. It's all good. We'll just fuck around today. Came in. Profit. You're 12 years old on the inside. Yep. Yes, I am. But on the outside, fully grown adult man. Nothing but meat and sex. So just put in a call whenever you want, Toodle. You just put in a call whenever you want. But take a fucking number, take a ticket. Join the fucking queue, baby. And body pains and lack of cardio. Alright, we're going to check the bounty board. The one thing I didn't generate. You know what? I'm going to generate it right now. I got it. Lyri takes a look around. In the corner of the room towards where the entrance exit is, there is a sort of sturdy oak plank, which is just sort of mounted near the exit. Covered in these like scraps of parchment. They're all tacked haphazardly on there. Glancing over the thing naturally, sort of the mercenary element. They start to look over each of these different notices. They're all different looking. They're all clearly varying levels of like penmanship, as they are. Some are scrawled hastily, some are like meticulously written. A little sign above it says tasks for the willing and able. Bounty 1. The Rabbit Roundup. It says, "Oh, the wild rabbits have been nibbling away at my carrot patch near the crossroads. Catch me 3 healthy rabbits and bring them back alive and I'll pay handsomely for the trouble. Signed, Old Maggie." The reward is 25 XP and a healing potion. As well as 3 gold pieces in small copper coins. Bounty number 2 says, "Looking for adventurers with sharp eyes and sharper reflexes. Feathers for folly. The bard Olivivara Dylair needs colourful wild feathers to craft a magical adornment for her lute. Fetch me 6 feathers from the gold pheasants in the nearby grasslands, but beware, they're fast and clever. Signed, Olivivara Dylair." The XP reward is 35 XP, as well as a beautifully woven feather token which grants +1 to dexterity saving throws for 1 hour when pinned to clothing. You'll also get a complimentary drink of the bard's favourite brew, Moonlit Mead, from the bar to complete this one. And the third and final bounty available is called the Leaking Barrel. And it says,
"One of the kegs in the cellar has sprung a leak, and I'm losing ale faster than I can sell it. Someone help me find the leak, patch it, and mop up the mess before I drown in my own tavern."
Signed, Lyndall Tanglefoot. The reward is 20 XP, a bottle of Tanglefoot Special Reserve, a fine ale that restores 1d4 HP and removes 1 level of exhaustion when consumed during a short rest, which you would get anyway. I guess it would just remove 1 level of exhaustion whenever. That would be better, wouldn't it? as well as 5 silver pieces and a hearty handshake. Do you take one of the bounties? You can only take one. The Rabbit Roundup. Feathers for Folly. The Leaking Barrel. This isn't worth my time. The choice is yours. Overwhelming. The Leaking Barrel. Leary tears the bounty off of the wall, heads over to the bar, places it down and slides it across to Lindor, who, a different stein in his hand, looks over and says,
Oh, you wanna help with that? Okay.
He says,
Here, come around here and follow me.
he jumps down and walks out from behind the bar and heads towards the door that leads into the back of the tavern. You know, it says private on the door, but he opens it up and says,
You see, down there is the cellar. You just need to go down and find the leaking keg. I don't know which one it is, but it's starting to piss me off. I'm running out of air. It's my job.
he says,
Wait, you know how to fix this or what?
Leary says, well, I'm a mercenary, so I sort of do whatever pays. He says,
Okay. Well, if you can find it and fix it, that'll be great. It's just straight down there. And if you steal anything from down there, I'll know about it. Trust me. I know how to speak to the rats and they'll tell me. They will. They will fucking tell me.
he says,
Anyway, good luck.
and heads back to the into the tavern. Leary steps down the steps into the lower part, into this sort of cluttered cellar, and I'm going to need a perception check to see if you can identify the keg. Stepping into this cellar, there are kegs everywhere. They line the walls. They're in the middle of the room. They're stacked up. They're held in those big keg holding like wine rack things, but are for giant kegs. There's a smell of just multiple different boozes, mostly mead. But as you step down there, there's a as your boots splash, and you have quad vantage on this roll. That's right. One of these kegs is leaking, but which one is it? Which one is it? You have quad vantage on this, so we'll take all 4 rolls. Let's see, what have you got? So far, a 4, an 11. Can you beat an 11? You have a +4 to this roll. Can you beat an 11? There's a 3 from Lux. I thought you were at work, Lux. Didn't you say you were at work for every Sunday ever? Last one. Can you beat an 11? A 9. You cannot. That 11 turns into a 15. You had to beat a 10, so you see Leary kind of navigating this cellar for a little while. It's dark and dingy down here. I believe Leary has dark vision. Yes. I think probably navigating via dark vision. There doesn't appear to be any natural way to like light a sconce down here. The gnome who owns the tavern also has dark vision, so probably just relies on that. Moving through, eventually it's the ears that pick up on the leak. There's a slight kind of hissing sound coming from one of these enormous kegs. Looking down, and between two other kegs there is a leaking keg. However, two of these kegs need to be moved out of the way. Give me an athletics check. This is a natural 20, but let's roll to see what you would have gotten anyway, because that's fun. And we're all having fun here, aren't we? We're all having fun, right? I'm having fun, even though I feel kind of sick, and I'm wondering whether eating a bit of food will make me feel better. It didn't this morning, but maybe it will now. A 14 will take the second roll. Let's see what you would have got. On this roll. Hope you feel better. Dude, I've just lived in nausea for 6 months. Here it is again. Oh, it would have been a 3. But in fact, is a natural 20. 2 rats sat in those like keg racks come to a stop. Looking over, they see Leary under one arm lift up an absolutely ginormous full heavy keg, and on the other, under the other, lifting a second keg. They kind of do a as Leary very easily moves 2 absolutely enormous, super heavy kegs out of the way and is able to access the leaking keg. This is, so I don't think you have any tools, right? So normally this would be some sort of like crafting tool check, or, you know, carpenter's tools or something like that, but I don't believe you have any. Let me see everything you have written here. Explorer's pack. The bone dagger. A small bag of dirt, a padlock. A candy cane. A wooden stocking, a pair of tongs. I guess you can either give me a creative. You're gonna have to tell me how you do this before I guess, because you have no crafting tools. You're gonna have to tell me how you do this before I call for a check. So, how does Leary fix the leaky keg? Again, let's have a quick look at your items here. You have a crossbow, you have some dice, you have a trophy, I don't know what that is. You have Big Flap's Great Club, you have some clothes, you have 2 sets of clothes, you have a bedroll, a mess kit, rations, a water skin, a whip, a bunch of magical things that you're probably not going to throw away, a pipe, the novel of non-canon, a small bag of dirt, a simple padlock and key, some jingle bells, an ugly sweater, a candy cane, a holiday candle, a stocking, a pair of tongs, and a gingerbread shield. I think that's it. You could drink a potion here, but I don't think any of it's really going to do anything, so. Alright, creative ideas from the chat. What do you got? Shove tongs into leak. Shove a wooden spoon into leak. Use candle wax to seal it shut. Drink it empty. Let me copy paste this one because it's long. Make a makeshift steak from a wooden spoon. Ratch writes the word piece, spelt like 60s piece. Piece of gum. Kill the spying vermin rats and then rib Lindel blind. Don't fix anything. Cast healing hands on the barrel. Candle wax you've suggested already. Tell the bartender we found the leak and ask if he have a spare cork for a plug. Roll the keg over. I'll go for that one. To see if the leak is at the top. There you go. The choice is yours. Actually kind of clever. Yeah, I didn't think of that either. A real human adult in the chat room. Ban him. Ban Mushy Tails. Makeshift mud from dirt and water as a sealant might also have worked, but wrote it too slowly, unfortunately. What have I done? Wait, why is Lux here? Oh, in January you said, okay. Alright, what are we going for? The candle wax. I think this is probably a sleight of hand check. To light the holiday candle, a lantern, nope, candle, a wax candle with a faint cinnamon scent. It's easy to light it, and then to sort of appropriately somehow plug this leak. Leary probably turns the keg over rather than tries to do it while it's leaking, you know. But then just applies pure candle wax to this thing. Let's do a sleight of hand check. You have a +3 to this, and you can roll now. And I think you're out of... That was the last quad vantage, right? This is just a straight roll now. Or... Did we do a quad vantage or did you do a natural 20 last? This is quad vantage, isn't it? And then this is the last one. So you have quad vantage on this. So 14. Can you beat a 14? My throat is so sore. And every time I eat, it makes it worse. Too much sucking. A 17 from Plum Rug. Can you beat a 17? 2 more. I love how you're rolling pretty well on the Dumb Tavern episode. Meanwhile, when you're fighting for your lives, another 14. So the 17's still in. 1 more. It's always the way, yeah. It's for the goddamn handshake. And then a 1 from Max. Max, do not bother with the lottery this week. Just save the money. Save the money. Yeah, I mean, I imagine, and I don't know if this would work logically, but it's a magic candle, so maybe it does in some way. There's enough wax or something. There's not the seal is made effectively somehow by Lyri, kind of dripping and molding the candle wax over the leak. There's a split that's in the bottom of this keg, running that over the thing, holding it, running a little more, and then carefully replacing the keg and waiting a moment to see if it bursts open. It doesn't. It is fixed. Returning upstairs, opening the door, and stepping back into the tavern, heading up over to Lindell, the gnome. He says,
Oh shit! You're back. I forgot you were here. Your food is ready. The others have started eating it. The blue fellas maybe had a little nibble of yours already. So, did you manage to fix the keg?
Leary says, yes, it's sealed. I left 2 kegs out of the way so that you can access it should it split again. But it should hold for now. Lindell says,
Oh great! It's been a thorn in my side for a long time. Well, what was the reward?
Leary says, well, it says 20 XP. I don't know what that means. And a bottle of Tanglefoot Special Reserve.
Oh yes, this is ale that we keep only a little bit of in this place. It's very expensive usually because it has some magical properties. I'm a gnome. I'm not very good with all that magic and scrolls and things, but my scroll does give me this particular ability.
He unrolls his scroll. And the cantrip in here is the cantrip of make ale slightly better. Leary says, oh, I've never heard of that. What does it do?
Well, it does exactly what it says. It makes ale slightly better. But I can't cast it that many times, so there's only a certain amount of Tanglefoot Special Reserve available. So, this one here, this one's just for you.
Handing Leary a small bottle of Tanglefoot Special Reserve. Again, let's see what this does. Let me write. Tanglefoot Special Reserve Ale. But it is a potion. It's a regenerative potion. A fine ale that restores 1d4 HP and specifically is one that removes exhaustion. There's a couple of ways you can get exhaustion in this game if you sort of overdo it in some sort of physical prowess, or maybe travel could be too hard on you if you push it too much. There are also lots of monsters that will inflict exhaustion on you and spells that will inflict exhaustion on you and stuff. So if you ever come under the effects of one level of exhaustion, rather than taking a rest, you can simply drink the Tanglefoot Special Reserve and it will restore 1d4 HP, but it also more effectively than healing a little bit of damage will remove 1 level of exhaustion. So basically a potion of remove level 1 level of exhaustion. Thanks, Shadow. He screams, I would like a wheel spin. I'm bored now. I'm bored of this all going right. He screams, everything has gone exactly to plan. This is unacceptable. I need chaos. Chaos in my life, he screams. You get 20 XP. Let me do this first or I will forget forever. Thank you, Valorant. So you're at 1,673 XP now. You get 5 silver pieces. He flips 5 silver pieces onto the desk, what's it called? The bar. You also need to pay for your dinner, actually, which I need to figure out in a second. Well, you pay 3 gold. So we'll just take 3 gold off. It's 3 meals. They're 3 gold. It works like, you know what? In fact, let's do that. You get 5 gold instead. Well, it was 5 silver pieces, so that's 2 gold. We'll say 3 gold. So we'll just say it's even.
We call it even on the dinner for the fixin'.
I might just reduce it to nothing but gold, like a video game. You know when you're just playing Final Fantasy and everything just costs X amount of gold and there's never any break? Because that's a much more simple way of doing it, isn't it? Video game rules. My brain is just like, whenever it seems too difficult, you're never sitting there counting out 10 copper pieces to a silver in video games. That'd be a nightmare. Unless it just did it all automatically, but that would be horrendous. Yeah, we'll do everything simply by gold, and I'll translate it if it, is a equivalent thing. And then he holds out his hand.
Also, a promise.
Holds out a small hand up towards you. Lyri reaches down, grips the hand. It's a hearty handshake. Give me an athletics check. You have +3 to athletics checks. He rolls a natural 1. No way he has a bonus to strength. He's an old gnome. Hit the second roll, not that 3. From Max. Max, really? No lottery. No gambling. I wouldn't, honestly, with that luck, I wouldn't even drive tonight. Just stay indoors. Stay indoors in the safest room. It wouldn't cook. Shadow, 6. He grips your hand. Lyri grips it back. Recognizes immediately that he's a very small, little, frail little gnome. And weakly shakes his hand. He heartily, to the best of his ability, shakes it back and then lets your hand go and looks up and says,
One hearty handshake. You're pretty strong.
He's lying. Okay. You look over at the table where there are 3 plates of varying meats, 2 bowls of soup, and some salad pieces, a couple of pieces of bread, 3 tankards of mead. Snotflap is doing his thing, just eating the whole leg of chicken, including the bone. Just food spitting everywhere. Lancelot very probably has a knife and fork, cartoonishly. Sitting very nicely, slicing pieces of meat off, and he has his full plate armor on, but with a little napkin tucked into the top of it, while he eats very pleasantly. There is another bowl on the side there, and I think just for the sake of it, we'll say that Lyri sits down and eats that meal, eats the bread and soup, eats most of the meat, gives the remnants to. Like a dog, just hands the chicken bones and whatever is left over to Snotflap, who just disgusting the way he eats. Just the worst, food going everywhere, bits of food all around his mouth. Lancelot does the same, hands him all of the chicken bones. Eats it like a dog, when a dog is just like tongue, everything. And then I guess we ask the question once more: What does Lyri do? What were the options? What does Lyri do next? Leave and go west, obviously. Talk to patrons, and that'll be a sub vote. So we'll do go and talk to one of the varying patrons in the room. Play a tavern game. There are some games of skill that you can do. And then any other options. Hi, Ondra. Welcome in. Now's your time to shine. What do you want to do? You're in a tavern currently. Start a bar fight. Always an option. Anything else? Any other suggestions from the chat room? Otherwise, we'll just add win D&D and begin the vote. Okay, there we go. So the options there: leave, talk to patrons, play a tavern game, start a bar fight. So there were 8 tavern patrons and 8 possible tavern games that you can play while you're here. Didn't we burn down the last tavern we were in? You absolutely fucked the place up, yeah. But to be fair, you were being accosted by the very lawful, evil town guard. So I don't blame you for it. I think we can let you off for this one, can't we? What do you say? You can vote for the thing you want to do by typing the number next to the thing in the chat room. Got my Steam replay back. Played 70 games. Got 563 achievements over 45 games. 25 of those are rare achievements. Played 65% of the games with keyboard and mouse. PUBG Battlegrounds, 25% of playtime. 93 sessions played. That's because I was literally having a mental breakdown. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, 5% of my playtime, 25 sessions played. That was almost... That was the worst month of the year when I was playing that. And then the next thing was Walking Dead. I don't even remember playing that. Was that the beginning of the year? There's a chair over there. 4% of playtime, 16 sessions played. As a streamer, it's a weird thing to have, isn't it? It just popped up, so that's why I'm saying it now, because I will forget. You've received a gift from Booster Greg. Booster Greg says, Dearest Brad, please accept this small token as payment for the sessions of Oracle's Rest during the year of our Lord 2024. I did like 2 sessions. He's bought me Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. He just wants me to play it with him. Thank you, Booster Greg. I don't know if he's in here. What a piece of shit. All right, what are we doing? We're going to talk to the patrons. Okay, which patron do you approach? So there is a halfling finger. A halfling woman with quick fingers, sharp eyes, and a knowing smirk. There's a burly dwarven stonemason with arms like tree trunks and a braided beard. There is a half-elf druid with an untamed look. There is a human fisherman with sun-bleached hair, leathery skin, and a hook for a left hand. There is a tiefling bard with ivory horns. There is a surly half-orc mercenary. There is a human cleric with a holy symbol of a sunburst. There is a gnomish tinkerer covered in soot and grease. There is also the tavern's bouncer who is a half-orc taverns bouncer. And there is a halfling server. And then I guess there is also Lyndall Tanglefoot, gnome tavern owner. There we go. Elf eating salad? Yep. Is that what I said? What's the matter? What's happening? I think it's a half-elf druid. The choice is yours. Who do you approach? The tiefling bard with ivory horns. Oh, Dave was the other option. This is not Dave. I forgot to add Dave. Why is it on that? This must have been when I paused the stream during that flannel. Yeah, Lyri kind of gets up and starts milling around, eventually kind of walking over towards the tiefling. There is this tiefling sat comfortably by themselves. They have these ivory horns that curve elegantly back over her head. She's got this flowing cloak that's adorned with silver embroidery. There's a small lute on their back. It seems very interesting. There's an almost ethereal style to it. And they seem to be just kind of comfortably sitting with a glass of what looks like maybe a light wine, enjoying the music being played by the bard that is sat on the other side of the room, just fiddling with the lute of their own. In the approach, what does Lyri say? What's the opener? What's the opener? Nice day for fishing, ain't it? Hello there. Crackle hilarious joke. You look like a catch. This isn't the fisherman, by the way. Why are two of these fisherman puns? Ask Bard to play a song about depression and toss them a coin. You mean ask the Bard that you're not talking to? You're not talking to the Bard right now. You've specifically chosen to approach this character. What do you say to them? I do something else. I'm gonna be the one guy in here that says a different thing to what everyone else is doing. It's so confusing, you people. How do you get through the day? It's always a nice day when it doesn't rain. The Fairchild A10 Thunderbolt 2 has a 30mm Gatling gun, quote. How much does your ivory horns, ivory horns sell for on the black market? A devilishly beautiful tiefling like you, I'd say the Nine Hells are missing their finest gem. Are you a fish? Because there are a lot in the sea. Or simply introduce ourselves. The choice is yours. What do you want to say out of all of those options there? Oh, we need to spin the wheel, right, Shadow? Let's do it right now. Encounter. Fuck, dude, if it was encounter. You get an item. We'll do in a second. All right. After all of those options, you're simply going to introduce yourself. Roll me a d20 first, and we'll see what item you get from the Spellwind. Take the second roll. Flush out all the old rolls. Take the second roll. The second cheese roll. A 5. A portable campfire. A magic device that ignites with a command word. Burns without fuel for 8 hours. Specific, but actually kind of useful. Portable camp fire. Remember, these are not meant to be magic items, so this is a really good one. This is meant to be just a mundane item. Magic item is a different role. This one's pretty good. It is kind of mundane for a magic item, but it's still pretty good for what it is, you know? We have a lot of shit, yeah. D&D campaign, baby. Lyri walks over to the tiefling and says, excuse me, I couldn't help but notice that was a very interesting looking loot. My name's Lyri, I'm new to the area. The tiefling kind of looks up, feet to the ground after they were resting on the table, and says, take a seat. Why not? The name's Olivara, but you can call me Ivory. They used to call me Ivory Strings back where I'm from. Oh, so do you use the loot for? Are you a bard? Might I guess? That I am, but there's no work to be had here today. Look, this guy's pretty good. I dare say, not as good as me, but pretty good after all. Yes, so, do you come here often? No, I'm just passing through. Although, you know, I might swing back by later on, see if I can make some coin. I have a particular show that I do where I play this lute, but it, well, it weaves little illusions of what I'm playing and singing. So if I'm singing about stars, it'll weave a little image of stars, and if I'm singing about, you know, flames, there'll be little delicate flames across the boards. So, you know, a lot of people like what I do. Kids love it. Depending on what I'm singing about, of course. Where did you say you're from? Oh, I'm from overseas, quite far away. I'm here doing work, looking for work. Well, I was supposed to meet with someone in Badger Brook, but I got a little waylaid. I'm traveling with, Lyri sort of looks back over their shoulder, the bard following the eyes over to the table where Snotflap is pulling a giant glob of snot out of his nose.
You see, and what I can do is do this with it. Blowing, blowing, blowing. It's kind of great, right? This ain't what they call me Snotflap, but I figured I better learn how to do something with the name. You know what I'm saying?
Lancelot is just horrified, but trying to be polite as usual. Lyri says, I'm not here with anyone. Ivory says, right. Is there something I could help you with, or were you just curious about the loot? What does Lyri do or say at this point? I don't know why you started speaking to this character, what the intention was, but I have no idea what you wanted out of this interaction. But here we are. You've just wandered over to someone in a bar randomly and introduced yourself. Turn on the old Lyri charm, easy. Intimidate. Ask her if she also preforms or preformed in Badger Brook. Buy her a drink, Moon Freak. Ask about the Dwarven Revolutionaries. Was honestly just curious, kind of compelled. Hope the travels go well. Give the portable campfire to her. Ask her about her name, Ivory Strings. What's her favorite song? Strings, a table story character. Why not tune in to a wonderful ancient episode of Dust Vale on Table Story, now available in audio form. How exciting, they scream. Oh boy, do we just love a table story. Is there a table story today? No way of knowing. No way to know. Ask about her name, Ivory Strings. What's her favorite song? She says, Lyri says, Ivory Strings. That's an interesting nickname. What does that come from? What's your favorite song? She says, in fact, make me an insight check, chat, as she responds to you. You have 0. So this is just a flat roll. We'll take the second roll. She says, what other name were they going to give me? I play a lute with ivory strings on it. Always have. The thing doesn't tarnish, doesn't break, you know. And my favorite song is Let You Love Me by Rita Ora. Lyri says, oh, I don't know if I've heard that one. A 20, but it's not a 20 because it's the second roll. Sorry, Crastian. Maybe if you hadn't been so badly behaved earlier on, we would have allowed such a roll. But you've been terribly behaved and must be punished. Such is the way of the world. Oh, the winning roll is Christian. And you got a 7. A fail. Okay, you read nothing. You read nothing on what Olivara says back to you. But Ivory does say, what's your favorite song? Perhaps I know it. What's Lyri's favorite song, guys? She's That Bitch. Leeches by Tool. The Lusty Tiefling Maid. Baby Got Back. Present the poem. What poem? I don't remember. What poem was it? The poem for the fucking miners and shit? Rice, Lyri Rice? The original quest? The main quest? The main story quest? Main story quest 1? The prologue? To the Hellfire by Lorna Shaw. Big space, big dick. Okay, there's your options. She's That Bitch, Leeches by Tall, The Lusty Tiefling Maid, Baby Got Back, Present the Poem to Her, Rice, Lyri Rice, To the Hellfire by Lorna Shaw, or Big Space, Big Dick.
The choice, as always, my child, is yours.
Mobile is so hard to read. Well, get on a computer like an adult. Stop playing mobile games in bed. Grow up. Okay? While we all play our make-believe imaginary game. The Lusty Tiefling Maid. What's your favorite song? Lyri says. Well, it's a song called The Lusty Tiefling Maid. And I'm gonna need some sort of charisma check from you, I think, on that. We're just gonna call it a charisma check. +3. Roll D20 in the chat. We'll take the second roll. You're going to need to roll very high. In fact, you're going to need to roll exceptionally high, I think, for this. There's an 18, but we're taking the second roll. Shadow's like, spin the wheel quick. Save us. Encounter. Damn it. Next roll 20. You jammy dodger. You jammy. This is what he wanted to happen. Never fear. I am here. Shadow appears. Right, what would you have gotten? Let's see what you would have gotten. Had Shadow not showed up. Keep rolling. You would have got a 19. But a natural 20 was what you needed. And a natural 20 is what you got. Ivory says, you know, normally that wouldn't work on me, but there's something about you. You just so happen to be my type. You look well rested, but you know, maybe you need a little lie down. I've got a room here if you want to swing by. I'm going to go for a little lie down myself. I'm in room 4. Ivory stands up and says, maybe by the time I've had a little rest, it'll be my time to perform. And then she winks at you and then heads out towards the back of where the inn is. Does Lyri sleep with Ivory? Yes. No. The choice is yours. Why can't D&D players just go to a tavern? Why do they have to flirt with everyone? If they're not flirting with all the other players at the table, they're flirting with every NPC in the fucking tavern, dude. This is why you don't start campaigns in a tavern, by the way. Because you have to do this part. Destroying your opening session. Shadow, I'm not kidding. The DC for that was that you needed to get a natural 20. Because saying the lusty tiefling maid is the worst chat up of all time. Absolute zero game if you're the type of person that tries those kinds of chat up lines on people. Absolute dead zero. I was like, in my head, I'm like, that has to be... I was like, I think I'll set it at like a 15 for the DC because it has to be pretty high. And then you'll notice I went, actually, you have to roll exceptionally well. And that was when I changed it to a full natural 20. I was like, you got to get a natural 20 for that to even slightly work. And it has to be one of those situations when you're chatting a girl up and you know that normally she wouldn't go for it, but somehow you've done something. You know, they've done something. They're not your type. They're kind of lame. But there's something about them that you're like, you know what? I don't know what it is about you, but something's sort of snuck through here. That's what you just pulled off. Because otherwise, there was no fucking way. Brad starts his next classic D&D game in a tavern. 100% I'm going to be starting the next campaign in a tavern. 100%. Because I'm running an orthodox D&D game. Yes. Lyri stands up, pushes the chair back from the table, and glances over to Snotflap and Lancelot. Walking over, Lyri places a gold coin on the table. Because that's how much this is going to cost to get Lancelot to babysit Snotflap. And looks at Lancelot and says, in case you need more food, and, well, I'm not sure when I'll be back, but just try not to make a mess. Glancing quickly at Snotflap, Lancelot says, of course. Take your time. Lyri gets up, heads out, walking along, looks at each of the rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opens the door. The door closes behind Lyri and the camera. And I'm going to need a performance check, please. I love making players roll performance check for sexual encounters. You have a +3 to this. What'd you get? A 3? But you have a +3 to this, so it's a 6. It's a 6 out of 20, guys. And that's where we end today's session. You trying to make it? You trying to spin the wheel real quick? I think it's too late unless you get a Deus Ex. Deus Sex Quadvantage. I'll allow it. Roll 3 more times. 3 more times. Quick. I'll allow it, Debiru. A 1. Nope. Can you beat a 3? A 6. Takes it up to a 9. Can you beat a 6? Can you beat a 6 on this final roll? Max, don't roll. You out of your mind? A 19, baby. Fucking get in, dude. A fucking 22 out of 20 performance check. Congratulations and well done, Leary. You did it. What an ending. What a finisher. Incredible work. Well done, everyone. Roll for pregnancy. A little roll in the hay. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. Leary did. Ivory definitely did. And we'll pick up from there next week, I guess. We'll carry on with the tavern. There's still a few more things you can do in here if you want. You can also leave. Don't feel like you have to do everything in this tavern because that's not how I set it up. But we'll pick up from after Leary's little roll in the hay in room 4. And we'll see, we'll see how it goes. Brad Paulson time travel shit. It's been 20 years. You're playing as Leary's kid. That's honestly dope as shit, and that's 100% what you'll be playing as in the next campaign. Leary and Ivory's kid. A half tiefling, half Aasimar. Oh, dude. 1 black eye, one white. Has Mother's bardic loot, has the magic loot. Full charisma campaign, which was what this was originally going to be, right? Well, congratulations, you did it. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had fun. Thank you everyone that gifted subs. I very much appreciate it. I got a lot today, so I really appreciate that. That'll see me through February. And I just bought that mattress topper, which I was a bit like, oh, I don't think I've got the money to spend on this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because my back is killing me. And we'll pick up with the story next week. This has been a really fun campaign to run. I'm enjoying the style. I'm enjoying the sort of version of D&D that we're playing. And yeah, I think there's plenty left to do. We'll continue playing it next week. Next Sunday. Sundays is when we play D&D. When's the New Year stream? Tuesday. Tuesday at normal time, 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern. New Year party. On Tuesday. Tomorrow we're going to do Minecraft just because why not? We'll play some more Minecraft tomorrow. Tuesday is the end of year party where we look at all of the games we played in the year, and I'm going to tier list them. We also look at all of the intros. We buy the mods a copy of that horrible game that we were looking at, and do a $1 giveaway. It's also the day that my mattress topper arrives. It means nothing to you, I just wanted to say it. And then I'm taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off this week. because I'm doing a bunch of stuff for Table Story in the new year that we basically all need to work on. So I'm taking 3 days off of this stream to work on the other stream. And then I normally take Saturdays off anyway. And then we'll be back next Sunday for more of this. So that's how that's going. Is Lyri a chick? Well, Lyri is a she, they. For pronouns. So however you want to interpret that. That roll in the hay that just happened is entirely up to you. There are still Table Story shows as well this week, so there will be a non-canon episode. Everyone thinks there won't be, but there will be, as well as all the other shows. And I believe there's an episode of Deathless tonight, so tune into that. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for some Minecraft. Peace.